It's Tuesday, February the 10th. Today, escape from deadly fire caught on camera. What neighbors say after witnessing a house fire in the St. Matthews area that claimed 2 lives. Also today, tens of thousands potentially exposed to measles. How many people have already contracted the virus from Ag Days in Brandon and how the province got here. Plus, searching for accountability. Dozens died of COVID-19. Now what family members hope will happen as a class action lawsuit against the operators of a Winnipeg care home is approved. Your Morning Winnipeg starts right now. Good morning. Happy Tuesday, Manitoba. Thank you so much for being with us here on Your Morning Winnipeg. I'm excited about Ainsley's Live today because we're going to hear all about the research happening right here in Manitoba, from the University of Winnipeg to the University of Manitoba. Some research on breast milk and its effects with children. Also some really cool things about some ancient humans and some of the jaws and some of the bones that were discovered. So we're going to delve into that throughout the morning. But the weather, went for a walk last night. Perfect conditions.
Oh, very nice. Yeah, it did get a little bit cooler then overnight, and this morning you're going to notice a slight change up from perhaps yesterday. Yesterday, you're right, it was incredibly mild. Not that it's not still mild this morning, but it's cooler than it was over the past few days, and it's cooler than it's going to be over the next few days because a warm-up comes again after today, although today, nothing wrong with where we're sitting right now. -8 at the moment. A wind chill value of -18 with a 32 wind out of the northwest, and that's probably the biggest thing that you'll notice today is that slightly stronger wind in place. The pressure is rising. The humidity is sitting at 86%. Oh, you might also notice a little bit of light snow. It was falling last night, still coming down this morning. So a slight dusting and perhaps making things a little bit slick in some places. So just keep that in mind before you leave the house this morning. Don't push it till the last minute. You might need a few extra minutes for your commute. Now, there you can see on the satellite image that little bit of light snow that's still kind of lingering right over the Winnipeg area and much of the southeast. But as the day goes on, I think we'll probably see that tapering off and maybe even the clouds breaking up a little bit. So some sunshine waiting for us later on into the day. Now, today the temperature's pretty steady. They're going to rise very insignificantly, and by that I mean maybe a degree, and then just kind of hold there throughout the day. But I mentioned things will still be getting warmer. Up around the freezing mark is where we're going to be through the rest of the week. There will be some sunshine. There's going to be a few extra clouds for a couple of days, a little bit more sunshine later on into the week. But these temperatures, they're going to be around the freezing mark, just bouncing back and forth from +1 to -1. That's going to last throughout this coming weekend, even into the start of next week.
Thank you, Terry. A desperate escape from a horrific Winnipeg house fire has been caught on camera. CTV News has obtained video of a harrowing scene as residents of an Agnes Street home tried to escape an inferno. 5 people were rushed to hospital, but only 3 survived. CTV's Jeff Keel has the latest on the investigation and a warning that some of the video may be hard to watch.
In this terrifying video from a fatal house fire Saturday, you can see someone trapped on the roof of the porch, unable to move because of the raging flames, as firefighters grab a ladder. And at the bottom of this screen, another person who appears to be naked collapses in the snow.
Come by, see the house is burning down. It's, oh my God.
Fire crews responded to the blaze on the 300 block of Agnes Street just before 10 Saturday morning. Pictures show the fire spreading before crews arrive.
Pretty bad though. It was like that was a fierce fire going on in there.
7 people were treated by paramedics. Of those, 3 were sent to hospital in critical condition. While 1 was upgraded to stable, 2 people later died, an 18-year-old woman and a 48-year-old woman. Flowers have been left at the site in memory of the 18-year-old.
As soon as I opened my door, there's like a cloud of smoke hit me like a brick wall.
Neighbor Samantha Nicoluk believes she saw the 18-year-old in a top-floor window.
And she was yelling, "Help me." Oh, just the thought of it.
Nicoluk says she provided jackets and clothing for many of the victims from the home as they had little on. A news release from the city says firefighters switched between offensive and defensive strategies to battle the fire depending on the conditions. By 2:30 in the afternoon, the fire was deemed under control. Nicoluk says the residents have been placed at a downtown hotel with the Red Cross providing assistance.
I just got back from seeing them. They're not doing too good. You know, they're in a hotel and they got a couple checks, but you know, what is that compared to losing everything?
Jeff Keel, CTV News, Winnipeg.
Winnipeg police say the fire is under investigation and investigators are working to determine whether arson is a factor. The inquest into a fatal police shooting of a 16-year-old girl in Winnipeg is set to hear from some young people who were in a stolen vehicle with her when she died. 3 of the 4 teens who were with Aisha Hudson in April 2020 are expected to provide accounts of what happened. The inquest has heard Aisha was driving a stolen Jeep and that some people she was with robbed a liquor store. It's examining whether the use of force was appropriate and if systemic racism played a role because the robbery suspects were identified as Indigenous. U.S. President Donald Trump has issued a new warning to Canada, a threat to block the opening of a new bridge linking Windsor and Detroit. The Gordie Howe Bridge is set to open this year. U.S. President Trump now says the U.S. should own at least half of it and be compensated. In a lengthy social media post, Donald Trump says he will not allow the bridge to open until, quote, the United States is fully compensated for everything we have given them, and also Canada treats the United States with the fairness and respect that we deserve. We will start negotiations immediately. President Trump is claiming Canada built the bridge with no input from the U.S., something Windsor's mayor disagrees with.
He's volatile, he creates uncertainty, and he doesn't mind lying to the public, and that's exactly what he's done here. Because at the end of the day, there's been thousands of hours of labor from residents in the state of Michigan and United States citizens who helped build their particular half. Steel from the United States went into their particular half. And so we truly are partners in this construction.
President Trump also claimed in his post that Canada owns both the Canadian and U.S. sides of the bridge. However, the bridge is publicly owned by both Canada and the state of Michigan. Canada funded the entire project. Under the agreement, once the costs are fully recouped, toll revenue will be shared with the state of Michigan. A new study finds how well a cancer treatment works may depend on the time of day it's given to patients. Researchers gathered more than 200 people who had the same kind of lung cancer and put them on the same type of treatments to fire up their immune systems. The only difference was half of the group got their medications earlier in the day and the other half got them later. The surprise finding was that the time of day made a difference. Patients who got their first rounds of treatment before 3 p.m. had, on average, about 5 more months before their cancers grew and spread, and they lived almost a year longer than those who got their treatments later in the day. They also had better odds of being alive at the end of the 2-year study. The researchers say they don't know yet what the connection is. The study was published in the journal Nature Medicine. Manitoba school divisions will get a 3.5% overall boost for the 2026-27 school year, but some say the actual funding for classrooms and programming is much less.
Nearly $80 million of new funding to support schools.
That's how much the province says is being added to the education budget. $11.4 million will support divisions affected the most by teacher salary standardization. The Division Scolaire Franco-Manitobaine will receive the largest bump at 9%, followed by Portage-la Prairie, Brandon, and Seine River. All other divisions will see an increase anywhere from 0.7 to 4.8%.
Salary harmonization does not impact every school division equally, so while this was a significant pressure for many school divisions, it was not the only pressure facing school divisions.
But with a 2.9% increase for operating costs, the Manitoba Teachers Society says classroom support is actually below inflation, representing a decline in real funding. There's a new king of curling in Manitoba. Carberry's Braden Calvert won his first provincial championship Sunday in stunning fashion.
Really just needs to hit this on the nose. Yes! To remove the red in the forefoot for a shot to go to the Briar, and finally, Braden Calvert and team, 3rd time's a charm.
Calvert and company scored 3 in the 11th end to claim the title over Jordan McDonald's rink in Selkirk. It was Calvert's 3rd crack at the championship after losing in the final the last 2 years. Team Calvert will represent Manitoba at the Briar in St. John's, Newfoundland. The national championship kicks off on February the 27th. Here's what's happening now in traffic along the Norwood Bridge. Still pretty light at this point in the drive this morning. If you see any issues out there, let us know, please. Let's go now to Ainsley McPhail, who's at Innovation Drive this morning. We're talking about research in Manitoba. Good morning.
Good morning. And yes, we are joined by Research Manitoba all morning long. Rochelle, I've always said it, Manitobans, the smartest researchers in the country. And it's not just me saying it. There are 172 researchers utilized between them, and then 272 students, 91 organizations, $13 million in funding last year. And we are going to have the opportunity to talk with 4 different researchers about their work, spanning everything from breast milk to Arctic waters in Churchill, Manitoba. I cannot wait to learn about some of these facilities and whether it's putting that money towards tech and innovation. We're at North Forge this morning, or breast milk. You never know what you're going to get on CTV's Your Morning. So stay with us. 6:44 is our next chat.
Okay, thank you, Ainsley. Let's go out to the rooftop now. Oh, it's you need some cover this morning.
Well, no, I mean, I'm being dramatic. I'm not being dramatic. I didn't want my hair to get wet, and I didn't have many other options because my toque is downstairs at my desk, and so a scarf is what I've got today to kind of keep the hair dry. Why? Because it's snowing out here. Not that it's cold, by all means. I mean, we've got these above seasonal temperatures. It's actually quite pleasant, but yeah, there's a little bit of snow that's coming down right now and has been for the last couple of hours, and maybe still for a couple of hours yet. So it's created a little bit of a light dusting, and I was saying it might be slick in some places, so just keep that in mind for your commute, either as a pedestrian, I noticed that, a little bit slippy, or perhaps on the roads as well. -9 is where we're sitting right now. Feels like -17 with a 23k wind that's out of the northwest. The pressure rising, the humidity sitting at 88%. And yeah, the little bit of light snow probably could last over the next couple of hours through the early part of the morning, and then it tapers off, and then the clouds even begin to clear, and we should start to see some sunshine later on today. The temperatures, they're not going to be soaring by any means, but -9 is already a normal daytime high, and we might still gain a couple of degrees throughout the day, expecting to end up at about -7. So slightly above seasonal, but probably the coolest day of the week, because after this, the mercury does really start to rise. We're not likely to see much in the way of precipitation after today. We've got a few days ahead of drier conditions. Maybe a few extra clouds for the next couple of days, moments of sunshine, but a lot more sunshine as we're looking toward the weekend, and that's when those temperatures could be right up around the freezing mark. We're taking a break right now. We'll return with Your Morning Winnipeg.
Weather is brought to you by Strictly Amish, exclusively in Arborg, Manitoba.
Good morning. Tens of thousands of people may have been exposed to measles during Manitoba Ag Days in Brandon. It's the latest exposure in Manitoba as the province is recording some of the highest counts of measles infections in the country. As CTV's Denton Unger shows you, an exposure on this scale has the potential to be a super spreader event.
35,000 people walked through Manitoba Ag Days in Brandon between January 20th to the 22nd. Now the province is warning they may have been exposed to measles, with health officials confirming at least 6 cases linked to the event so far.
It's super concerning.
Microbiologist Dr. Philip Legacy-Ween says this has the potential to be a super spreader event.
About 90% of people who are susceptible to the measles virus who get into a closed space with an infected person will themselves become infected.
It's the latest exposure for the province that's been struggling to keep measles at bay for more than a year.
When we're starting to see hundreds of cases annually, we know we're going to start seeing some severe complications, including potentially deaths and ICU admissions.
So how did we get here? Measles was first eliminated in Canada back in 1998, but that changed with a new outbreak that started in October 2024. Legacy-Ween says the original cases were likely picked up during travel outside of Canada and brought into communities with low vaccine rates. From there, cases started to climb, and Canada officially lost its measles elimination status in November of last year. Now, provincial data is showing 74 confirmed cases of measles and 8 probable cases in Manitoba so far this year, the highest in the country.
In the 25 years before this outbreak started, we had 18 cases. And, in a single week, recently, we have more than that.
Provincial Medical Officer of Health Dr. Devinder Singh says uptake of the measles vaccine has been dropping for years.
Our lowest rates of uptake are in Southern Health Santé Sud, where we've seen the largest number of cases.
He says this has left many people, particularly children, unprotected.
Ultimately, we want at least 95% of people to be immunized with at least 1, preferably 2 doses to get that highest level of protection.
And until that happens,
we're in this for the long run.
Danton Unger, CTV News, Winnipeg.
The province says if you were exposed, you should make sure your vaccines are up to date, cut back any contact with others, especially if they have a weakened immune system or are not vaccinated, and watch for symptoms, which can show up 7 to 21 days after exposure. For the second time in less than a week, a Winnipeg school has shut its doors over an alleged threat. St. John's High School told students and staff not to come to school Monday morning. Winnipeg police confirmed they received a report of online threats involving the school Sunday night, and the Major Crimes Unit is investigating. Winnipeg School Division Superintendent Matt Henderson says the closure was so police could investigate. Last Wednesday, Bernie Wolf School in the River East Transcona School Division was evacuated due to a reported threat. At the time, police said there was no threat to the public. That incident remains under investigation. And that's not all. Winnipeg police were called to Hastings School in St. Vital Monday morning over an alleged threat. A spokesperson for the Louis Riel School Division says police later confirmed there was no risk to students or staff. They were unable to provide any more details, citing the ongoing police investigation. Catherine O'Hara's cause of death has now been revealed. The Los Angeles County Medical Examiner's Office has confirmed O'Hara died after suffering a pulmonary embolism. That occurs when a blood clot blocks an artery in the lungs. It also listed rectal cancer as the long-term cause. Catherine O'Hara died on January 30th at the age of 71. Canada's major airlines have now suspended service to Cuba as the island warns of a fuel shortage.
The typical definition of what we think of as a failed state, Cuba is sort of on the cusp of it.
The move comes as Cuba experiences its worst economic crisis in nearly 70 years. Air Transat, Air Canada, and WestJet are now suspending all flights to Cuba. All 3 airlines say they do have contingency plans to get Canadians home. For decades, Venezuela has been the primary source of oil for Cuba. That source was cut off when the United States captured Venezuela's president in January. That's when President Donald Trump said he would impose tariffs on any country that sells or provides oil to Cuba. The island has said it is open to negotiate with the U.S. to reach a deal to end the oil blockade. It's not known yet whether Captain Marie-Philippe Poulin will take the ice when Canada's women's hockey team takes on the U.S. this afternoon. Poulin was hit during the first period in yesterday's matchup against Czechia. She tried to come back for the ensuing power play, but the discomfort was obvious, and she left the game with an apparent knee injury. Canada ended up beating Czechia 5-1. Not having Poulin in the lineup would be a big blow for Canada as they take on the U.S. Poulin is a 3-time gold medalist with Team Canada, and she has the most goals of any active player in Olympic women's hockey. We have some road closures to remind you about this morning. The westbound curb and middle lanes on Notre Dame Avenue will be closed from Kate to Furby Street. Following the rush hours, the northbound curb lane on Colony Street will be closed between Portage and Webb Place, and the southbound curb lane on Donald Street will be closed from St. Mary to York Avenue. If you have any other traffic tips to share, please text them to us at 10400.
Traffic is brought to you by Curtis Carpets, Manitoba's flooring experts.
The CTV Live Eye is brought to you by Bathfitter, exclusive home of the PermaFit solution. So this morning, feeling a little bit cooler than perhaps the last few days, nowhere near as cool as that little bit of a cold snap that we finally found ourselves digging out of this past weekend when it was so beautiful, balmy and mild. Yesterday, beautiful again. Today, slightly cooler, but today might be a little more perfect for those of you that have been a little bit annoyed by the mess because things won't be quite as slushy or messy today as we're seeing a closer return to seasonal temperatures, at least for daytime highs. Nowhere near the overnight lows. That would put us around -19. And you can see nobody throughout southern Manitoba is anywhere close to those seasonal numbers this morning. We are fairly close to the normal daytime highs of -9, with these minus single digits all throughout southern Manitoba. Getting up into the minus double digits just a little bit further to the north of us and through central Manitoba, pushing up into the mid to high minus teens, moving further up into the north. Now, as far as winds winds go, you will notice that bit of a bite at times today. Those winds could be gusting to about 50 kilometers per hour here in Winnipeg. So -9 feels more like -17, but it's up into the north where those wind chill values are pushing from the low to mid or even high -20s. So throw those extra layers on. You'll be glad for that choice. A little bit of light snow still falling here in Winnipeg, and you can see it there active on the satellite image right now, not just here in the southeast, further yet to the east, parts of northwestern Ontario also dealing with some morning flurries, but it will likely only last throughout the morning hours and then clearing as the day goes on, increasing amounts of sunshine, increasing temperatures barely. From -9 we'll get to about -7 where we'll hold steady throughout the day today. Technically still above seasonal, but nowhere near as warm as it's going to get. With the mercury on the rise over the next several days, we're going to be looking at a little more sunshine and flirting with the freezing mark, maybe even above. So temperatures will be well above what you would expect for this time of year. And a great day to get out for a stroll. This is what it looks like at Elk Island Provincial Park. Thanks to Kevin for the photo, and keep them coming, please, to Winnipeg Weather at CTV.ca. We're taking a break. We'll see you soon.
Good morning. Another kind of sporting event took place in Estonia over the weekend. Hundreds of people came out for the annual European Sauna Marathon. It turns the tradition Nordic pastime into a competition with a carnival-like atmosphere. The goal is for teams of 4 to race to as many local saunas in the fastest time. There were 21 different saunas, and participants had to spend at least 3 minutes inside each one. When a BC woman's mother passed away, she decided to donate one of her items. She didn't know then the gift would end up being a gift to herself. As CTV's Adam Sawatsky shows you, the person who got the donation honored her late mom in a fabulous way.
While Adele Hatch can walk to the water now, she recalls being driven there as a child, thanks to her mom Doreen being the only woman on the street with a license.
Every other woman and the kids were stuck at home unless the husbands took them.
So Doreen would regularly squeeze Adele and her sisters, plus a few of her friends, into the back of her Beetle and embark on an adventure at the beach.
I will call her a force of nature, a fabulous force of nature.
During one of those beach days, Doreen discovered a remarkable piece of driftwood, strapped it on the Beetle, and drove it to her garden, where it sat on display for more than 30 years.
It was wonderful.
After Doreen died, Adele showcased the log in her yard for 2 decades, until she happened upon the work of driftwood artist Tanya Bob and offered it to her.
And I said, you'll do much more with it than I will ever do.
So Tanya gratefully accepted it, and like her previous work, expected to use it as a component in the construction of some sort of creature.
I would sort of look at the thing and I'm like, no, it's not a bear. And I'd be like, okay, come back 2 months later. I don't see a Sasquatch here.
It wasn't until a year later that Tanya finally saw it as kelp waving in the water, was inspired to start bending chicken wire into a shape she could perch on top of the stump, and eventually made a massive mermaid that she named the Fabulous Doreen.
And I can't believe it. I couldn't believe it.
Adele couldn't believe 2 things. First, she'd never told Tanya about Doreen's passion.
My mother loved mermaids, absolutely loved them.
And second, Adele had never shown Tanya any photos of her mom, let alone this picture of Doreen perched on a wall with her arms stretched out in a strikingly similar pose.
I couldn't believe that that was basically my mom in mermaid form.
And while it could be coincidence, and certainly serendipity, maybe, they say, it's something more magical.
I think she kind of inhabited that wood a little bit and was a little bit whispering in my ear.
But no matter the explanation, Tanya's donating proceeds of its sale to a charity in Doreen's name, and Adele is hoping whoever takes the mermaid home is inspired to be fabulous in the same way Doreen was.
Find something you enjoy and bring that joy to others as well.
Adam Sawatsky, CTV News, Victoria.
Here's a look at what's happening right now on the Puttavanche Bridge. Things are slowly moving in this part of the city. Moving well, in fact. We'll be right back after this short break.
-9 is where we're sitting right now. That would be bang on normal for this time of year if it were the middle of the afternoon or reaching our expected high. But we're 10 degrees above seasonal this morning, -19, a normal low. We do have a wind chill closer to that, sitting at -17 with winds out of the northwest, 23 kilometers per hour. The pressure is rising and the humidity is sitting at 88%. It is going to be a mild day. I've been saying it might feel a little bit cooler than the last couple have been, or what the rest of this week will be, because that's going to be so far above seasonal, it'll almost be shocking, feeling like spring, and maybe almost too much so, knowing that we've got these winter festivals just around the corner, and we'd like to get out to some of that wintertime activity, but things have been so messy and slushy and melting. Well, that won't necessarily be the case today, because it will be slightly cooler, and maybe even slightly snowier. Those flurries have been falling now for the past few hours and will likely continue for the next few. But then they'll taper off. The sky will begin to clear. We'll see increasing amounts of sunshine into the afternoon, a high of -7 expected today, but there will be a bit of a breeze with that. Winds out of the northwest, at times gusting to 50 kilometers per hour. Then overnight, sky clears even more so just a few clouds lingering, dropping down to -13. That's still keeping us above a seasonal daytime high. And then for tomorrow, -3, getting pretty darn mild and messy, of course, with those winds out of the south at about 20 kilometers per hour. It actually continues to warm up through the latter part of the week, up around the freezing mark, maybe even above. We've got some plus digits or temperatures hovering either side of freezing, and a fair bit of sunshine, and that'll continue to last throughout the coming weekend, even into the start of next week.
Thank you, Terry. Charges have been laid against the man accused of abducting a woman at knife point on a northern Manitoba First Nation last week. Police allege 39-year-old Albert Allen Joshua McKay, also known as Joshua Papenikis, entered a home in Pimicikamak Cree Nation Thursday morning. He's accused of attacking a person with a hammer before kidnapping a 20-year-old woman. Mounties launched an extensive search of the community, and police located the duo at a vacant property. The woman was treated for minor injuries, and McKay was taken into custody. He's charged with kidnapping, 2 counts of assault with a weapon, and 2 counts of failing to comply with an undertaking. A class action lawsuit against the former operator of a Winnipeg personal care home is moving forward. Dozens of Manitobans died during an extended COVID-19 outbreak in October 2020 after the virus swept through Maple's personal care home. Now a Manitoba judge has cleared the way for the class action to proceed. CTV's Joseph Bernacki has the details.
So whenever I need to have a little bit of courage, I come and I look at my dad.
Eddie Callisto Taveras said goodbye to her dad, Manuel Callisto, more than 5 years ago. He was one of 56 residents who died at Maple's personal care home during a COVID-19 outbreak at the facility in 2020. She says her 88-year-old dad spent his final days in isolation.
It was more security guards than nurses, healthcare aides, the people that were supposed to be there looking after them.
She got in to see her dad, but it seemed like the facility, then operated by Rivera, was not prepared to handle the massive outbreak. She is one of 2 representative plaintiffs in a class action lawsuit filed in 2021 against Rivera, the Winnipeg Regional Health Authority, and Shared Health. A judge certified that action last week. The lawsuit alleges systemic failures led to the resident deaths, like a lack of staff, protective equipment, and hygiene.
Issues that came to light during that pandemic, they were there before. Those cracks were there.
According to court documents, between October 2020 and January 2021, 157 residents tested positive and approximately 56 residents died. The plaintiffs allege there were several failures by Rivera, namely that the company did not adequately plan for or respond to the outbreak. CTV News Winnipeg has reached out to Rivera for comment but have not heard back. Both Shared Health and the WRHA declined to comment on the matter as it is before the courts. Daryl Singer is heading up the suit, representing between 300 to 500 people.
My reaction is I was elated. This has been a long slog for our clients.
Callisto Taveras hopes she can honor her dad's life this year. She plans to visit her dad's former Portuguese home, walking the Camino in his memory.
I'm walking with my dad's in mind, lighting candles along the way.
Joseph Bernacki, CTV News, Winnipeg.
A public inquiry into the scandal-plagued construction project for the downtown police headquarters building kicks off today. The probe will examine why the project went tens of millions of dollars over budget. In 2009, City Council approved a $135 million budget for the project at the former Canada Post building. But in 2016, when police moved in, the total cost had ballooned to $214 million. The cost overruns were blamed on construction delays, flood damage, and other factors. However, in court documents, RCMP alleged the city was the victim of a multi-million-dollar fraud, but Manitoba prosecutions didn't proceed with charges. In 2022, a civil court judge concluded former city CAO Phil Schiegel accepted a $327,000 bribe from the contractor, Caspian Construction. And in 2023, City Council agreed to settle 2 lawsuits related to cost overruns associated with the project.
This is the type of inquiry that usually draws a lot of public interest because it involved misappropriating of government funds, accusations and findings of corruption and that sort of thing. And, that's something that the public usually cares about quite a bit. I think that's one thing we'll wait and see with this is it actually, aside from laying blame and that sort of thing, the big thing is whether this will lead to changes.
Former Mayor Sam Cates is among those scheduled to testify this week, while Schiegel and the owner of Caspian Construction will testify next week. Health Canada has announced a recall of some blood pressure medication. They say 2 lots of Mar-Amlodipine 5 milligram tablets are being recalled as some bottles may contain the wrong drug. It's usually used to treat high blood pressure and chest pain. Health Canada says the manufacturer inadvertently put medication to treat low blood pressure in some of the bottles. The correct tablets have 8 sides and are white to off-white in color and have the numbers 210 and 5 printed on them. A giant snowman in tiny Ontario is helping make a difference in the community. Frosty the Snowman is 10 meters tall and towers over everything else in his yard. Antonio Feria and his brother-in-law Josh work tirelessly using snow from their own property. They've also placed a donation bin near the snowman, inviting visitors to make a donation to the food bank in nearby Elmvale. Very cool. Here's a look at what's happening right now on the street at Confusion Corner. Looks like things are picking up over here. It's a little bit slick out there, so be mindful of that when you head out this morning. If you see any issues out in traffic, let us know, please. Here's a look at your gas prices. The Canadian average is $1.29. The provincial average is $1.22. And in Winnipeg, the average is the same. And the lowest price in the city is $1.12. All this information is on GasBuddy.com. Ainsley McPhail is hanging out with Research Manitoba this morning, telling us about some of the cool projects happening right here in our province. Stay with us.
Weather is brought to you by Blinds Are Beautiful. Our new Hunter Douglas showroom is at 900 Lorimer.
All right, a little bit of light snow still coming down, but here's some really good news about this. We know it's been incredibly mild and messy and slushy and all of that, and then the snow turns like brown and gross. It looks pretty fresh and clean out here with this light dusting of snow, and it'll probably continue to fall for us over the next couple of hours before it tapers off later today. -9, so it is a little bit cooler than it was yesterday or the weekend, for example, but it is still well above seasonal. We're bang on what a normal daytime high would be, and 10 degrees above a seasonal low of -19. Northwest winds are just 23 kilometers per hour. I shouldn't say just. You'll notice the breeze out there, especially it could increase today up to about 50 kilometers per hour, but it will be a little bit breezy and still with the temperatures on the rise, not by much, but we still will likely gain a couple degrees today. We're going to perhaps see an improvement in the conditions in that the snow will taper off and the sky might even begin to clear a little bit. Brief moments of sunshine for us later on today. Temperatures pretty much holding steady. I said we'll gain a couple degrees up to about -7 and then sticking there throughout the day. We're right now heading on over to see where Ainsley McPhail is and what's going on. Good morning, Ainsley.
Good morning. We're at North Forge this morning talking about Research Manitoba. Its CEO is joining me now, Jennifer Cleary. I have the best job in the world because I get to interview people of all facets, all academic interests, but Research Manitoba is doing the best they can to really elevate these people. Tell us about what you do.
Yeah, so we fund researchers from all across the province, from very beginnings, master's, PhD students, all the way through to like huge infrastructure projects, lots of labs, lots of really cool things happening in this province. So we also have a really exciting and awesome job.
Mm-hmm. So being able to elevate and cultivate this research is so important for these individuals, but also the broader community. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so the research that we do in Manitoba really touches on every aspect that you can think about. It touches on healthcare and health system. We touch on environment. We touch on Indigenous-led projects. And so I think everywhere you look in this province, you could probably see a little bit of the research that we do as a province in Manitoba.
Mm-hmm. And looking towards the future as well, you want to be monitoring industries so that you can evolve with them. What's next, or what's your hope for the future?
Yeah, so this summer we actually received an increase in our funding. So I know at the beginning, earlier on the show, you mentioned that we had a $13 million budget. We've actually increased to almost $19 million now, which is a huge increase for us. And with those dollars, we're really hoping to be able to show that impact to the province. We have a new division coming on board in the organization that will focus on intellectual property and helping innovators and new entrepreneurs and getting their businesses up and running, and really helping researchers take the next step into that impact space and showing their research in different societal ways.
Mm-hmm. Before we finish this segment here, what do you want our audience to know?
I think that researchers are super passionate, they're super caring, and they're really here to bring out the best in all of us and to do best for the province.
Thank you so much. We've got more coming up on Your Morning Winnipeg.
Here's a look at the early markets. The Dow Jones is 34 points higher. The Nasdaq added 13 points. The S&P index is up 8. The Canadian dollar is slightly down to 73.74 cents U.S. Overseas, the Hang Seng rose 155 points, and the Nikkei gained 1,286 points. Good morning. It is 6:46. A man has died after the vehicle he was driving rolled over west of Portage-la-Prairie. Mounties say a passerby came across the scene early Saturday morning. It happened on Tower Road in the RM of North Norfolk, near the community of McGregor. A 29-year-old man was found dead outside the vehicle. The cause of the crash is under investigation. A lawsuit over payments to members of Treaty 1 got underway in a Winnipeg courtroom Monday. At issue is the annual payments the federal government agreed to more than 150 years ago in exchange for the use of thousands of square kilometers of land in what is now southern Manitoba. The payment was frozen at $5 a year. But the plaintiffs argue that money doesn't go nearly as far as it did in the 19th century. A lawyer for the 7 First Nations involved in the lawsuit told a judge the case hinges on 2 key issues. First, what was the original intent of the payments? For example, was it meant as a rent payment for the land, or was it meant to be tied to the Consumer Price Index as a means for people to stay out of poverty? And secondly, how should the court determine any retroactive payments if it finds in favor of the plaintiffs? In its statement of defense, the federal government says it's under no obligation to adjust the dollar amount. The trial is expected to run until the end of the month. Another group is answering Manitoba Hydro's call to expand wind power generation. The economic development arm of Minnegozibi Anishinaabe says it submitted a request for qualified participants to the Crown Corporation. It's hoping to create a 200-megawatt wind energy project somewhere in southern Manitoba. Chief Derek Nepanak says about a dozen wind power companies around the world have been interviewed, and the group is zeroing in on 2 it could potentially partner with. The chief says this could cost upwards of $600 million.
It's a pretty big investment. It would be by far the biggest investment that we've made as a community, but we're not doing this for ourselves today. We're doing this for the next generation and the generation after that. Our children need to feel that their future is being protected and it's being supported by the leaders of today. And we're doing that by participating in this sustainable energy project.
Chief Nepanak expects to have more details ironed out by the summer. This comes after the Crown Utility put out a call last year for Indigenous majority-owned wind power to help meet growing energy needs. The Manitoba Métis Federation is also working on plans for a 200-megawatt wind energy project. Ontario's Inspector General of Police has announced a province-wide investigation into 45 police forces.
We'll look at the entire sector across Ontario. Once the inspection is complete, the inspector will provide a findings report, which we will make public.
The independent investigation will look at 45 police forces in Ontario following the corruption scandal within the Toronto Police Force. 7 Toronto police officers have been charged in the investigation dubbed Project South. This independent investigation will fall under the province's Community Safety and Policing Act, which governs policing in the province. The federal Conservatives are calling for tax relief for laid-off GM workers. Pierre Poilievre is asking for a tax exemption for severance paid out to GM workers in Ingersoll, Ontario, who lost their jobs when GM stopped production of the Bright Drop EV. A lump sum payment can lead to a heavy tax hit, especially for workers who have been with the company for a long time. There's a new king of curling in Manitoba. Carberry's Braden Calvert won his first provincial championship Sunday in stunning fashion.
Really just needs to hit this on the nose. Yes! To remove the red in the forefoot for a shot to go to the Briar, and finally, Braden Calvert and team, third time's a charm.
Calvert and company scored 3 in the 11th end to claim the title over Jordan McDonald's rink in Selkirk. It was Calvert's third crack at the championship after losing in the final the last 2 years. Team Calvert will represent Manitoba at the Briar in St. John's, Newfoundland. The national championship kicks off on February 27th. We have some road closures to remind you about this morning. The westbound curb and middle lanes on Notre Dame Avenue will be closed from Kate to Furby Street. Following the rush hours, the northbound curb lane on Colony Street will be closed between Portage and Webb Place, and the southbound curb lane on Donald Street will be closed from St. Mary to York Avenue. If you have any other traffic tips, please text them to us.
A beautiful start to your morning, -9, though it feels like -17. There is a little bit of a breeze that you'll notice out of the northwest, 23 kilometers per hour. The pressure is rising. The humidity is sitting at 88%. It's slightly cooler feeling than it's been. And these temperatures, they're not going to be rising much today, more so holding steady. But even where they're holding steady, or rising a couple degrees, it'll still keep us slightly above what you would expect this time of year. And then the bigger warm-up actually comes in the days ahead. Right now, we've been dealing not just with the slightly cooler temperatures, but also a little bit of flurry activity that's been falling for the last few hours right over the southeast, parts of northwestern Ontario as well. So a few places that'll be seeing the fresh, clean slate of snow, but it might make things a little bit slick. So just keep that in mind for your commute. Right up into parts of northern Manitoba, that possibility of some flurries today. Mid-minus teens to low minus teens, barely into the minus double digits. You can see it will be an above seasonal day no matter where you are. Fairly mild. A little more sunshine likely in areas just along this western border, especially as the day goes on and these clouds begin to clear somewhat. That'll be the case here throughout southwestern Manitoba as well, where the temperatures could be rising several degrees higher. And in fact, we always get that weather like a day in behind, so expect this to be where we're going to be tomorrow, up around -3. Today, -7, so a little bit cooler, like I said, than it's been or than it will be because that warm-up's still coming. But even -7 still keeps us slightly above a normal daytime high. -9, that would be a normal high. -19, a seasonal low. Well, we're not seeing those normal lows anywhere anytime soon. And even the daytime highs after today will be a distant memory because look where we're headed. Our overnight lows will be closer to the normal daytime highs, but our actual highs closer to the freezing mark, maybe even at times slightly above.
Thanks, Terry. While athletes chase gold, another competition is unfolding that has pinned down a serious following at the Olympics. Here's CTV's Garrett Barry on a tradition that has sent collectors chasing.
An Olympic morning in Milan means, of course, competition. To these victors, the spoils, an exclusive city pin. To many others, broken hearts if they arrived too late for the prize.
Yes, we are trying this, but it's not going great for now. We don't have any pins for now.
The quest for Milan's perfect pin will take you all over the city. Each day here, there's a scavenger hunt of sorts where the city's tourism information board posts a new location in the morning and pin collectors congregate here to try to get a chance at a limited edition giveaway. This morning in Milan's Navigli district, people waited hours for the small souvenir.
Well, they're giving them out and it's kind of a hunt for them, so it makes it fun.
Because I live in Milan, quindi I want these pins, all pins.
I love pins. I don't know, I love putting them on my clothes and it's an easy accessory.
Some have been doing this for decades. Meet Thomas Rondi, a pin collector for 14 Olympic Games running. with the hardware to show.
It's really interesting. People have so much fun at it, and it's not really official yet for the Olympics, and we're in a club called the Olympin, and we're trying to literally get it part of the Olympics officially.
You'll find him anywhere in this city, always open for pin trading business. Even CTV anchor Heather Butts got in on the action.
This is the Paralympic Winter Games from Vancouver 2010.
The deal done.
We'll do that trade, and then you trade, and then you have fun, and you say thank you very much.
But there's more business to do. Rondi says each Olympic city starts a little cold, but towards the end of the games, it's a full-on frenzy to get your favorite pin while you can. Garrett Berry, CTV News in Milan.
One of Canada's most recognizable natural landmarks has become even more awe-inspiring lately. A spectacular byproduct of a brutally cold winter. CTV's John Benavalli-Rao explains.
The falls were already one of the world's most iconic natural wonders, a spectacular sight made all the more incredible by the deep freeze.
It's just unbelievable.
Ice encasing parts of the falls, turning them into a winter wonderland.
You gotta hate the weather, but you gotta find the beauty in it too, right?
With tourists willing to put up with downright frigid temperatures to see the falls transformed.
There's no mated and mist here today because it's packed with ice.
After more than 3 weeks straight of below zero temperatures, ice has been building up amid the longest cold snap to hit Ontario in more than a decade.
Sustained cold temperatures, we're seeing minus 10, minus 15. In fact, last night was minus 20.
The falls haven't completely frozen over. The powerful flow of the water is still too strong for that. But the ice around the falls is the most seen since 2015. The waters here have only stopped completely once before in 1848 because of an ice jam. But other severe winters have seen partial freezes, where people have even ventured out onto the ice.
To imagine all that water freezing is just how cold the temperatures have been.
Shows you how cold it is. And it's been so cold this winter, the Great Lakes are now more than half frozen over, with Lake Erie a whopping 95% ice covered, and it could freeze over for the first time in 3 decades. A massive crack formed over the weekend that could be seen from space, and winds have pushed huge sheets of ice onto the shore, creating massive mountains of ice. At the falls, there's been a surge of tourists.
Sometimes some will say to us this is their favorite time to see Niagara Falls because this is unique to see ice conditions like this.
And while it is expected to reach 1 degree here tomorrow amid a slight warm-up, so much ice is built up around here they expect it to last for many, many weeks to come. John Benavalli-Rao, CTV News, Niagara Falls.
A giant snowman in tiny Ontario is helping make a difference in the community. Frosty the snowman is 10 meters tall and towers over everything else in his yard. Antonio Faria, his brother-in-law Josh, worked tirelessly using snow from their own property. They've also placed a donation bin near the snowman, inviting visitors to make a donation to the food bank in nearby Elmdale. We have a traffic alert to tell you about. There are traffic signals that are flashing red for all directions on Century Street and St. Matthews Avenue. So please treat that as an all-way stop sign and proceed with caution. You should expect delays for all directions in that area. It's Tuesday, February the 10th. Today, fatal house fire. What we're learning after a Winnipeg blaze claimed 2 lives over the weekend. Plus, Cuba flights cut. Canadian Airlines suspends service as fuel shortages deepen Cuba's economic crisis. And measles alert. Health officials urge vaccinations as outbreaks grow and elimination status is now in jeopardy. Your Morning Winnipeg starts right now. Good morning, Manitoba. It's 7 o'clock on your Tuesday. Thank you so much for being with us here on Your Morning Winnipeg. When a woman has a good group of friends, they can pretty much do anything they want.
True.
Women tend to sort of gel together, and if you have that support, it's so important. Well, there's a group of ladies putting on a special event. It's a Galentine's Day event happening at the Canadian Museum for Human Rights. It's for a good cause. We're going to tell you a little bit more about the event and why you should support it, especially if you have some gal pals. And the weather is really lovely if you want to go for a walk with one of of your gal pals this evening.
Yeah, I mean, go for a walk with anyone, even if it is just your dog or alone. I don't mind a solo stroll every now and then, but by all means, make the most of this gorgeous weather. It is going to be a little bit cooler today, but it just means it won't be anywhere near as messy. Light snow, too, making things look fresh and clean. It's -9 at the moment, though it feels like -17. You got to dress for that wind, 23 kilometers per hour out of the northwest. The pressure is rising and the humidity is sitting at 88%. But yes, while I say things look fresh and clean with that light dusting of snow, it may also make things a little bit slick, both on the sidewalks or even on the roads. So just keep that in mind. Might need to give yourself just a little bit of extra time, either to get where you're going today as a motorist or to do that kind of penguin shuffle in some places as a pedestrian, just because of the slick conditions. There you can see the snow still showing up on the satellite image in the southeast and further east through parts of northwestern Ontario. But there might still be some flurries right up into parts of northern Manitoba, especially along the eastern side. Western Manitoba might see those clouds breaking up a little bit more. Better chance of some sunshine, which we'll likely see later on into the day. The flurries only probably to last throughout the morning hours and then tapering off and clearing as the day goes on. Tomorrow we'll see a little more sunshine. That'll be nice to see. Tomorrow we're also in for some warmer temperatures. Not that today will be cold by any means, but it will likely be the coolest of the week and cooler than what we experienced over the weekend or say yesterday. And temperatures from where they're sitting right now, they actually won't budge very much. So we're at -9, a seasonal daytime high. We might rise to about -7, hold steady through the day, but it will still continue to warm up throughout the week with a little more sunshine in the days ahead. Speaking of sunshine, that's little Woodstock there hanging out with Snoopy. 8-year-old Owen shared their art with us today. So thank you, Owen, for this. And keep the pictures coming, please, to Winnipeg Weather at ctv.ca.
The Weather Art of the Day is brought to you by 103.1 Virgin Radio.
A desperate escape from a horrific Winnipeg house fire has been caught on camera. CTV News has obtained video of a harrowing scene as residents of an Agnes Street home tried to escape an inferno. 5 people were rushed to hospital, but only 3 survived. CTV's Jeff Keel has the latest on the investigation. First, a warning, though, that some of the video may be hard to watch.
In this terrifying video from a fatal house fire Saturday, you can see someone trapped on the roof of the porch, unable to move because of the raging flames, as firefighters grab a ladder. And at the bottom of the screen, another person who appears to be naked collapses in the snow.
Come by, see the house is burning down. Oh my God.
Fire crews responded to the blaze on the 300 block of Agnes Street just before 10 Saturday morning. Pictures show the fire spreading before crews arrive.
Pretty bad though. It was like that was a fierce fire going on in there.
7 people were treated by paramedics. Of those, 3 were sent to hospital in critical condition. While 1 was upgraded to stable, 2 people later died, an 18-year-old woman and a 48-year-old woman. Flowers have been left at the site in memory of the 18-year-old.
As soon as I opened my door, there's like a cloud of smoke hit me like a brick wall.
Neighbor Samantha Nicoluk believes she saw the 18-year-old in a top-floor window.
She was yelling, "Help me." Oh, just the thought of it.
Nicoluk says she provided jackets and clothing for many of the victims from the home as they had little on. A news release from the city says firefighters switched between offensive and defensive strategies to battle the fire depending on the conditions. By 2:30 in the afternoon, the fire was deemed under control. Nicoluk says the residents have been placed at a downtown hotel with the Red Cross providing assistance.
I just got back from seeing them. They're not doing too good. You know, they're in a hotel and they got a couple checks, but you know, what is that compared to losing everything?
Jeff Keel, CTV News, Winnipeg.
Winnipeg police say the fire is under investigation and investigators are working to determine whether arson is a factor. The inquest into a fatal police shooting of a 16-year-old girl in Winnipeg is set to hear from some young people who were in a stolen vehicle with her when she died. 3 of the 4 teens who were with Aisha Hudson in April 2020 are expected to provide accounts of what happened. The inquest has heard Aisha was driving a stolen Jeep and that some people she was with robbed a liquor store. It's examining whether the use of force was appropriate and if systemic racism played a role because the robbery suspects were identified as Indigenous. A leading U.S. health official is urging people to get inoculated against the measles as outbreaks continue across several states.
Take the vaccine, please. We have a solution for a problem. Not all illnesses are equally dangerous and not all people are equally susceptible to those illnesses, but measles is one you should get your vaccine.
Speaking to CNN's State of the Union Sunday, Dr. Oz added Medicare will continue to cover the measles vaccines as part of the insurance program. His comments come as an outbreak in South Carolina in the hundreds has surpassed the recorded case count in Texas's 2025 outbreak. Multiple other states have had confirmed cases this year, and the country is at risk of losing its measles elimination status. U.S. President Donald Trump has issued a new warning to Canada, a threat to block the opening of a new bridge linking Windsor and Detroit. The Gordie Howe Bridge is set to open this year. U.S. President Trump now says the U.S. should own at least half of it and be compensated. In a lengthy social media post, Donald Trump says he will not allow the bridge to open until, quote, the United States is fully compensated for everything we have given them, and also Canada treats the United States with the fairness and respect that we deserve. We will start negotiations immediately. President Trump is claiming Canada built the bridge with no input from the U.S., something Windsor's mayor disagrees with.
He's volatile, he creates uncertainty, and he doesn't mind lying to the public, and that's exactly what he's done here. Because at the end of the day, there's been thousands of hours of labor from residents in the state of Michigan and United States citizens who helped build their particular half. Steel from the United States went into their particular half. And so we truly are partners in this construction.
President Trump also claimed in his post that Canada owns both the Canadian and U.S. sides of the bridge. However, the bridge is publicly owned by both Canada and the state of Michigan. Canada funded the entire project. Under the agreement, once the costs are fully recouped, toll revenue will be shared with the state of Michigan. A group of U.S. senators has wrapped up a visit to Greenland.
It hurts my heart. It hurts my heart to know of the anxiety and the concern that you and your families face.
Members of the bipartisan delegation said the U.S. needs to repair its relationship with Greenland and Denmark. This comes after U.S. President Donald Trump backed away from his earlier comments, saying the U.S. needs to take over the island. Canada women's hockey team remains unbeaten at the 2026 Winter Olympics after a 5-1 win over Czechia. This second win in a row comes as Marie-Philippe Poulin left in the first period after a hard check and did not return to the ice. Canada is back in action against arch rival Team USA this afternoon. Go Canada, go. Here's a look at what's happening in traffic at Portage Avenue. Things are still quite light at this point in the drive. If you see issues in this part of the city or in any other part, please let us know.
Alphabet is selling sterling and Swiss franc denominated bonds for the first time, including an ultra rare issue of a 100-year note following a bumper $20 billion deal in the U.S. Alphabet's 100-year note is the first sale with such an extreme maturity by a technology firm since Motorola sold this type of debt in 1997, according to data compiled by Bloomberg. I could not justify taking such a long maturity bond in most companies, especially not one subject to an ever-changing landscape, said Alex Ralph, co-portfolio manager of Ned Group Investments Global Strategic Bond Fund. So we'll see what happens. Canadians in Cuba are waiting for flights home as an energy crisis worsens in the nation amid a U.S. oil blockade. Major Canadian airlines have already suspended service to Cuba, but confirmed they plan to bring travelers back home. Calgary-based WestJet says its decision to wind down winter operations will affect WestJet Sunwing Vacations, WestJet Vacations, and Vacances WestJet Quebec. No word on the financial impact on the companies. Those are your morning business headlines for BNN Bloomberg. I'm Roger Peterson.
Let's go back now to Ainsley McPhail. We're talking about Research Manitoba and some of the really neat projects happening in this province. Good morning.
Rochelle, you're going to love this one. Okay. The Churchill Marine Observatory, $45 million investment. And we're going to be chatting with Fei Wang, who's behind the whole thing. He's the director. It's talking about the impact of climate change, oil in the area, and of course, the ecology surrounding it. He's brought this in, and I don't think it's going to help make us breakfast. And I think it's expensive too, so I'm definitely going to put it down. We're also going to be talking about Research Manitoba's investments as well. $13 million last year, an extra $5 allocated to this year, supporting of 172 researchers, 272 students. We're also going to be chatting with other researchers as well. Breast milk, Indigenous innovation. Just stay with us because I can't might get it all out in 10 seconds or less.
It's exciting to learn more. Okay, thank you, Ainsley. Let's go out to the rooftop now. How's it feeling out there right now, Terry?
You know, quite pleasant. There is a little bit of a breeze, but honestly, it's not too bad. And where these temperatures are sitting is actually pretty darn good. Where we are right now would be on par with a normal daytime high. We are still well above a seasonal low, and those numbers won't be showing up anytime over the next week or more. So we are going to be well above seasonal, and even though today might be one of the cooler days, everything after this continues to warm up. And one of the good things about the slightly cooler days is it's not going to be anywhere near as messy or as slushy. -9 right now with a wind chill of -17 as those winds gust out of the northwest 25 clicks. The pressure rising, the humidity sitting at 86%, and still seeing just a little bit of light snow coming down. But after those mild, messy, slushy days, everything was looking all gross and brown and dirty, and now a nice, fresh, clean slate. But it might make things a little bit slick, so just keep that in mind for your commute, either as a motorist or a pedestrian. Snow will probably taper off within the next few hours, increasing amounts of sunshine then later on today. Not a massive increase with the temperatures, though. From -9, we'll get to about -7, holding steady there throughout the day, but it will continue to warm up throughout the rest of this week.
Weather is brought to you by ABC Fire and Safety, your CO2 refill store.
It's time now for our question of the day. Today is Cribbage Day, one of the oldest and most popular card games. And so we want to know, what's your favorite card game? You can text your answer to 10400. Make sure to follow the automated instructions so we can feature your response. And don't forget to include your name, please. At Your Morning Winnipeg, we're all about celebrating your amazing pets, furry, feathered, or scaly. Your Pet of the Week submissions are amazing, and we want to see even more. Whether it's dogs, cats, birds, or any other pet pals, send them our way. Drop your pet photos and a fun little story about them to petoftheweek@ctv.ca, and then catch us every Thursday to find out if your pet is our Pet of the Week on Your Morning Winnipeg. We're going to take a quick break right now. We'll be back with more news and some entertainment as well. Stay with us. Good morning. For the second time in less than a week, a Winnipeg school has shut its doors over an alleged threat. St. John's High School told students and staff not to come to school Monday morning. Winnipeg police confirmed they received a report of online threats involving the school Sunday night, and the Major Crimes Unit is investigating. Winnipeg School Division Superintendent Matt Henderson said the closure was so police could investigate. Last Wednesday, Bernie Wolf School in the River East Transcona School Division was evacuated due to a reported threat. At the time, police said there was no threat to the public. That incident remains under investigation. And that's not all. Winnipeg police were called to Hastings School in St. Vital Monday morning over an alleged threat. A spokesperson for the Louis Riel School Division says police later confirmed there was no risk to students or staff. They were unable to provide any more details, citing the ongoing police investigation. Charges have been laid against the man accused of abducting a woman at knife point on a northern Manitoba First Nation last week. Police allege 39-year-old Albert Allen Joshua McKay, also known as Joshua Pepenicus, entered a home in Pimichikamak Cree Nation Thursday morning. He's accused of attacking a person with a hammer before kidnapping a 20-year-old woman. Mounties launched an extensive search of the community, and police located the duo at a vacant property. The woman was treated for minor injuries, and McKay was taken into custody. He's charged with kidnapping, 2 counts of assault with a weapon, and 2 counts of failing to comply with an undertaking. It's been weeks since residents of the Kaseshawan First Nation were forced out of their community and left to live in hotel rooms.
They're really out of their comfort zone, especially my son that's 12 years old. Doesn't go to bed, he doesn't feel safe.
This family has been in this Kingston, Ontario hotel room for a month now and has even welcomed a new baby to the family. They are also trying to navigate the special needs of their older children, and they say there just isn't enough space. A state of emergency was declared in Kaseshawan on January the 4th because the water was not safe. Sewage was contaminating the drinking water. Test results have revealed a parasite, which is likely the cause of dozens of people getting sick. But for the families who have been scattered across hotels, there is still no clear timeline for when they'll find their way home. Here's what's happening now in traffic on St. Mary's Road. Things have picked up in this part of the city, as you can see, but overall moving quite well. If you see any issues out there, let us know, please.
Traffic is brought to you by Mr. Lube Plus Tires. Open late, ready when you are.
A Punjabi music superstar set to grace the stage again 2 years after a record-breaking tour across Canada. Diljit Dosanjh is bringing his Aura World Tour to North America. It kicks off in Vancouver in April. When he played at the venue in 2024, it was billed as the largest Punjabi concert ever held outside of India. Dosanjh is set to hit the stage in Winnipeg at Canada Life Centre on May 7th. Tickets go on sale Thursday at livenation.com. Steve Carell is starring in a new comedy series.
He knows this place like a fishbowl. That guy knows. He doesn't know. Excuse me, you know that my husband left me for a grad student, right?
Yes.
The series, called Rooster, is about an author's bond with his daughter. It's set on a college campus. The 10-episode season begins streaming on March the 8th. Paul Thomas Anderson is adding to his trophy shelf.
This is an announcement on revolution. The message is clear.
I'll be seeing you very soon.
Not if I see you first.
Anderson won top prize at the 78th Directors Guild Awards for One Battle After Another. This major win is putting him on course to possibly scoop up an Oscar. In the last decade, 9 DGA winners have gone on to win Best Director at the Oscars. And the final trailer has arrived before fans get to see Ryan Gosling on the silver screen.
I understand that you think I'm the right person for this mission. I understand the stakes.
This is the trailer for Project Hail Mary. The story follows a science teacher who wakes up alone on a spaceship light years from Earth. He then uncovers a mission to stop a mysterious substance killing the sun. It hits theaters on March 20th. Your primetime lineup today comes with Will Trent at 7. The Big Bang Theory is on at 8. Next up is W5. Avery Haynes investigates at 9. And Best Medicine wraps up at 10. It's all right here tonight on CTV. Terry, my son is reading that book, the one with Ryan Gosling, the Project Hail Mary, and he wants to take his time with it because he loves space, but I'm itching to get my hands on that book and just start reading it.
Well, you've got a bit of time before the movie comes out, right? Like,
yeah,
it was
I think
just
March 20th, they said.
Okay,
yeah.
So he'll finish it, then you'll finish it. You don't want to see the movie before the book is done anyway, right?
I don't.
Always book first.
Exactly.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, let's take a look outside at these conditions that we're waking up to this morning. The CTV Live Eye is brought to you by Bathfitter, exclusive home of the PermaFit solution. You know, you could just take the book after he goes to bed. Oh, wait. Who am I kidding? You go to bed way before he does. All right, that's just the case on this alarm clock, I promise you. Okay, -9, that's where we're sitting right now in Winnipeg. That would be a normal daytime high. You can see similar temperatures all throughout the south. So high minus single digits is where we're currently sitting. Probably won't see much in the way of gains here in the southeast, but the southwest might see a pretty big warm up today. Central Manitoba moving up into the north, into the minus double digits or the mid to high minus teens. But again, well above what you would expect for this time of year. Some heavier clouds, especially along that eastern border. A little more sunshine expected off to the west, but we should talk about the winds. You're going to notice them today. Here it's feeling like -17, -9 the actual temperature, and that's because of the winds. 25K out of the west could increase to up to 50K wind gusts. So a little bit breezy today and a little bit snowy today. There's the flurry activity still coming down here in southeastern Manitoba, a little more off to the east as well. And again, anybody really along that eastern border has that risk of flurries today. But later as the day goes on, the flurries will have tapered off and even the sunshine starting to bust out into the afternoon. -9 to -7, where we'll hold steady through the rest of the day today, but the bigger warm-up actually comes after today when we're pushing closer to the freezing mark or even into the plus digits at times, with these mild temperatures lasting throughout the weekend and beyond. And if you want to get out in the Elk Island Provincial Park area, this is what it looks like. Very cool to see that part of the province. Thanks to Kevin for the photo. Keep them coming, please, to Winnipeg weather at ctv.ca.
February 10th, 1949, Arthur Miller's play Death of a Salesman opened on Broadway. It won the Pulitzer Prize for Drama and several Tony Awards and is considered one of the most influential American plays ever written. February 10th, 2005, Prime Minister Paul Martin testified at the Gomery inquiry into the sponsorship scandal, becoming the first sitting Prime Minister to have appeared in public at an inquiry since 1873. The inquiry concluded federal sponsorship sponsorship funds had been misused and diverted to liberal-connected ad firms. February 10th, 2014, Shirley Temple, the child star who warmed the hearts of Depression-era moviegoers, died at her home near San Francisco. She was 85. As an adult, Temple served the U.S. in several diplomatic positions, including as the U.S. ambassador to Ghana and later as ambassador to Czechoslovakia.
Whether you saw them during the game or later online, companies shelled out big cash to get their ads featured during the Super Bowl. One spot even topped 8 figures for the first time. But did any of them manage to grab the spotlight from action on the field? ABC's Danny New has that story.
With around 130 million people watching,
Jen Spark, give me the day off.
Super Bowl advertisers competed Sunday night for an evening with a rare opportunity.
This is one event where you can get them to watch the commercials.
There's no skip ad button. For Insight, I spoke with marketing consultant Alan Adamson, who entered this field about 3 decades ago, long before 30-second commercials were creeping over the reported $10 million mark we saw this year.
I'm on road.
Overall, Alan says there were 2 main industries dominating the breaks this year: AI and, as you just saw tennis great Serena Williams vouching for, weight loss medications. And when it comes to the latter,
the benefit of those is the product really does work and makes people's lives different. So you may not need to do much explaining.
Isn't that your girlfriend?
Of course, there were many commercials with more than one celebrity. This Duncan Goodwill Hunting spoof featured Ben Affleck, Tom Brady, and I think 1 million actors from 90s sitcoms.
Yes, Wi-Fi finds a way.
And how about some more 90s? Xfinity united the cast of Jurassic Park simply by fixing the island's internet.
Lots of these ads are entertaining, but there's an old ad phrase that was many years ago: it ain't creative unless it sells.
Meanwhile, the New York Times ranked this Squarespace ad as the #1 commercial of the night, as actress Emma Stone continually smashes laptops when she sees that EmmaStone.com is already taken.
If you need to attract people that really want to get the Danny New brand and they're concerned that it's going to be taken by Danny Old, you better pay attention to Emma.
I'll be right back.
Right, exactly.
Hilarious. All right, here's Ainsley is live at Research Manitoba telling us about some of the interesting projects that are happening in this province. Stay with us for more. There's a lot of research happening in Churchill right now, and Ainsley McPhail joins us again to tell us more about some of the projects out there. Good morning, Ainsley.
Good morning. I truly wish I was there. It's a facility like no other. Its director is joining me now, Fei Wang. Thank you so much for being here today. Why didn't you take me to Churchill?
Yeah, I'd be happy to take you there, but I got the next best. I got a poster here. We'll give you a general idea of what the observatory looks like.
Now, you're calling it Manitoba, the Maritimes. Tell us about what goes on in this building.
Absolutely. Well, I'm not the one who make Manitoba a maritime province. For the record, Manitoba has always been a maritime province. It's just that the true potential as a maritime province has never been realized until we think about now. So what we have here is the very first Marine Research Institute in the maritime province of Manitoba. And what we see here is in the town of Churchill, you have a major infrastructure where we could do experiments that can anticipate the changes that the Bay and the Port of Churchill will see, that help us to develop technologies, knowledge, and hopefully improve policies and practice to balance the unprecedented opportunities for socio-economic development and great challenges when it comes to ecosystem and indigenous way of living, traditional way of living. In addition to what we have in Churchill, we also have a series of what we call the moorings. That's monitoring stations with sensors that are moored to the bottom of the ocean. So I have one little sensor as an example to show you. This is not exactly the one we have on these moorings, but essentially it's something like this. It's a multi-probe that can be connected to a receiver, data receiver. But at the other end of the probe, we have a whole bunch of sensors that would allow us to measure, say, ocean current and wind and speed, ice conditions, and of course, potentially oil spill that happen during marine shipping. We also, in some of the sensors, we also have these hydrophones that would detect the migration of marine mammals. So altogether, along with a research vessel, yes, sorry.
No, it's okay. Yeah, explain a body of work in 10 seconds. How could you do it? How could you possibly do it? We're chatting about some more research coming up at 7:42.
Okay, thank you, Ainsley. And the weather today, it's going to be a little cooler than yesterday?
But still very pleasant. I do want to make sure that I say that. I don't want anybody to be thinking, oh gosh, it's back to the deep freeze. By no means are we back to the deep freeze. In fact, we're closer to a normal daytime high. Bang on, actually, at -9. Feeling like -17 with those winds out of the northwest. They're 25 kilometers per hour. The pressure is rising, the humidity sitting at 86%. You can see it's looking a little bit foggy out there right now. There's been some light snow falling over the course of the morning, and that will likely still continue for another couple of hours yet. Off to the east of us, same situation. To the west, you might start to see some clearing a little bit sooner. You might also get some warmer temperatures in areas to the west of us. We will warm up a couple of degrees, but then just kind of hold steady throughout the day at -7. Slightly above seasonal, though, with those winds increasing out of the northwest at times up to 50 kilometers per hour, so you will probably notice that breeze. And then the sky will be clearing into the afternoon, and even more so overnight as we drop down to -13. Those winds begin to taper off, and for tomorrow, those winds shifting out of the south, mercury rising even higher. A lot more sunshine expected for tomorrow as we're climbing to -3, and from there, well above seasonal, close to the freezing mark, maybe even at times above, and those incredibly mild and messy conditions will then last throughout the rest of the week, the weekend, and even on the other side.
A public inquiry into the scandal-plagued construction project for the downtown police headquarters building kicks off today. The probe will examine why the project went tens of millions of dollars over budget. In 2009, City Council approved a $135 million budget for the project at the former Canada Post building. But in 2016, when police moved in, the total cost had ballooned to $214 million. The cost overruns were blamed on construction delays, flood damage, and other factors. However, in court documents, RCMP alleged the city was the victim of a multi-million-dollar fraud, but Manitoba prosecutions didn't proceed with charges. In 2022, a civil court judge concluded former city CAO Phil Schiegel accepted a $327,000 bribe from the contractor Caspian Construction. And in 2023, City Council agreed to settle 2 lawsuits related to cost overruns associated with the project.
This is the type of inquiry that usually draws a lot of public interest because it involved, misappropriating of government funds, accusations and findings of corruption and that sort of thing. And, that's something that the public usually cares about quite a bit. I think that's one thing we'll wait and see with this, is it actually, aside from laying blame and that sort of thing, the big thing is whether this will lead to changes.
Former Mayor Sam Cates is among those scheduled to testify this week, while Schiegel and the owner of Caspian Construction will testify next week. Several fire departments responded to a weekend fire in Beauséjour. The blaze broke out at a multi-suite building Saturday night around 10:30. Because of the type of structure and location, Beauséjour Broken Head Fire Department called out crews from East Selkirk, Springfield, and Lac-du-Bonnet to help and provide relief throughout the night. The fire department says the town's mayor also jumped in to help shuttle evacuated families and take air tanks to the fire hall for refilling. There's no word yet on what started the fire. Workers abducted from a mine in Mexico have been found dead. 10 workers were taken last month from a mine site in Sinaloa. This mine is owned by Canadian company Vizsla Silver. It says it's awaiting confirmation from the Mexican authorities and will provide further updates as appropriate. They also say they're focused on the safe recovery of those who remain missing and supporting the families of those affected. It's not clear how many bodies have been found. In January, Global Affairs Canada said it wasn't aware of any Canadians among those abducted. 4 people have been arrested so far. An Ottawa area Liberal MP is calling on the government to reconsider their 4-day-a-week return to office policy for public servants. Carleton MP Bruce Fanjoy says the policy will cost both the government and taxpayers more and increase pollution. He says there's little to no evidence a one-size return to office policy will improve productivity. He also adds it will make it more difficult for public servants to balance work with other responsibilities. A leading U.S. health official is urging people to get inoculated against the measles as outbreaks continue across several states.
Take the vaccine, please. We have a solution for a problem. Not all illnesses are equally dangerous, and not all people are equally susceptible to those illnesses. But measles is one you should get your vaccine.
Speaking to CNN's State of the Union Sunday, Dr. Oz added Medicare will continue to cover the measles vaccines as part of the insurance program. His comments come as an outbreak in South Carolina in the hundreds has surpassed the recorded case count in Texas's 2025 outbreak. Multiple other states have had confirmed cases this year, and the country is at risk of losing its measles elimination status. Breaking news this morning, Canada is back on the podium this morning, taking silver in short track mixed relay. Canada made it to the final against Italy, China, and Belgium. After a thrilling semifinal, in that semifinal, the U.S. and South Korean skaters crashed. In the final, Canada was sitting in fourth place at the halfway mark, but powered back to take second. Italy won gold, Belgium finished third. With today's silver, Canada's medal total sits at 1 silver and 2 bronze. Another kind of sporting event took place in Estonia over the weekend. Hundreds of people came out for the annual European Sauna Marathon. It turns the traditional Nordic pastime into a competition with a carnival-like atmosphere. The goal is for teams of 4 to race to as many local saunas in the fastest time. There are 21 different saunas, and participants had to spend at least 3 minutes inside each one. We have some road closures to remind you about this morning. The westbound curb and middle lanes on Notre Dame Avenue will be closed from Kate to Furby Street. Following the rush hours, the northbound curb lane on Colony Street will be closed between Portage and Webb Place. And the southbound curb lane on Donald Street will be closed from St. Mary Avenue to York Avenue. If you have any other traffic tips, please let us know. Here's a look now at your gas prices. The Canadian average is $1.29. The provincial average is $1.22. In Winnipeg, the average is also $1.22, and the lowest price in the city is $1.12. All this info is on GasBuddy.com. Taking a look outside right now, we're sitting at -9 with the wind chill. Feels like -17. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
A mild start to your morning. We're sitting on par with a normal daytime high. -9 at the moment, though it feels like -17. And that's all due to the wind out of the northwest, 25 kilometers per hour. The pressure rising, the humidity sitting at 86%. You can see the foggy, maybe misty conditions. There's been a little bit of light snow this morning. There you can see how active things are looking on the satellite image here through the southeast, but also further east of us into parts of northwestern Ontario. Now, precipitation never reads on the satellite image up into parts of northern Manitoba, but you can bet there will likely be some of that activity. Still, these mild temperatures right up into northern Manitoba, just into the minus double digits or mid-minus teens. A little bit brighter over on the western side of the province, especially as the day goes on and these clouds begin to clear, and maybe even a little bit milder by a few degrees, especially throughout the southwestern part of the province, where the mercury will be climbing to above seasonal values, getting as mild as -3 in places like Brandon, Neepawa, which are the kind of temperatures that we'll be feeling tomorrow, and the conditions too. We've got these extra clouds this morning and the scattered flurries for maybe another hour or so. Into the afternoon, I do expect we'll see a little more sunshine, but temperatures for us in the southeast will be holding steady at about -7 throughout the day today, and further to the east of us, still with the clouds and that bit of light precipitation. Now, tomorrow, things are going to be warming up, and even more so then throughout the rest of the week. The weekend up around the freezing mark. We could even crack the freezing mark later this week into the plus digits, but either side of freezing, and that's where we're going to stay right into the start of next week.
Thank you, Terry. We're going back now to Ainsley McPhail, who is telling us all about Research Manitoba. We're going to learn a little bit more about the benefits of breast milk. Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, from talking about Churchill to the benefits of breast milk, so much great is happening here in this province. Sonoji Vijanayak joins us now to kind of give us an overview of her research. So when it comes to studying breast milk in this province, what is your research tailored towards?
Absolutely. Actually, we have a lot of great researchers in Manitoba that studies breast milk, like my colleague, Dr. Azad, as well. I have to give her a shout out. She's a huge person in the field. I study developmental origins of health and disease. So what do I mean by that is that I study how early life exposure to certain kinds of environments, certain kinds of stress, modulate and shape your later life outcomes. And I study breast milk or human milk as a medium that can modulate those developmental trajectories. And I study a specific specific component of milk. I study these nanovesicles in milk. So what are nanovesicles, you might ask, right? It's a mouthful. But think of nanovesicles like little emails. Like you would send emails to your colleagues or friends and family that contains texts, information, videos, audio, and things like that. These nanovesicles in milk, they do the exact same thing. They transport bioactive components like DNA, RNA, hormones, peptides, microRNAs between moms and the babies. And I study how these different components work together and also how those components interact with the baby's developmental systems to modulate its growth and well-being.
What are your findings?
Well, there's some great findings coming out, and also we published quite a bit so far. One of the main things we found is that these nanovesicles, they're anti-inflammatory and they're cytoprotective. So if the babies are undergoing environmental stress or exposed to maternal stress, maybe psychosocial stress, maybe dietary stress, these nanovesicles can help them fight and remain healthy as much as possible during those environments and during those stresses.
So for instance, if someone is experiencing anxiety or postpartum, that is a factor.
That is a stress that can change the milk, absolutely. But we're finding that the milk changes in such a way to give the baby the best course of life amidst that stress, amidst that stressful period. And these nanovesicles are doing a great job at that.
So for someone like me, to simplify, moms are caring for their babies no matter what. And that's such a beautiful sentiment to finish our segment. Thank you so much for your work and for this conversation. Back to you.
Thank you, Ainsley. Donald Trump called the Super Bowl halftime show terrible and the worst ever. But despite the presidential backlash, Bad Bunny's performance is getting some rave reviews here in Canada. CTV's Andrew Johnson reports.
It was a Super Bowl-sized eruption in Seattle when their team won it all.
This is the best day of my life. We the best day. Amazing day. The Seahawks, Super Bowl champions.
The Gatorade spilled after a game that was anything but splashy.
The game wasn't very good.
A common complaint when defense is the star on the field, as it was for the Seahawks in shutting down the New England Patriots. But there was no lack of excitement at halftime. Puerto Rican superstar Bad Bunny, with the help of Ricky Martin, Lady Gaga, and incredibly elaborate set pieces, turned the show into a celebration of multicultural America, including an actual legal wedding ceremony and a shout out to every country in the Americas, including our own. A message not lost on Canada's Latin community, including Montreal's mayor, who busted out some moves of her own before the game.
He talked about what America is, and America is not the United States. It's all of us.
Bad Bunny, who's been critical of Donald Trump and the crackdown by immigration enforcement officers, ended with the message the only thing more powerful than hate is love. The U.S. president did not love the performance, calling it terrible, one of the worst ever, and a slap in the face. In Seattle and Vancouver, where Seahawks fans referred to as 12 North partied into the night at local bars, the most important message was victory.
There are, in fact, thousands of Canadian Seahawks season ticket holders, the majority here in BC, and we can expect many will be crossing the border to celebrate in Seattle on Wednesday at the Super Bowl parade, where officials expect up to 1 million fans. Andrew Johnson, CTV News, Vancouver.
Let's see who's celebrating a milestone today. Happy 18th birthday, Tatum. Love Grandma B, Grandpa Keys, and all of the family. Happy 42nd birthday, Bev, with love from your husband and children. Happy 6th birthday, Dominic. Lots of love, Mom, Dad, Emilia, and Connor. Happy 80th birthday to best friend and brother Raymond from your Woodhouse family, Garnet and Lorette. Happy 70th birthday to Mom and Grand Lorette from your children and grandchildren. To submit your milestone, visit our website, ctvnewswinnipeg.ca, and fill out the form at least 2 days in advance. It'll also enter you into our monthly contest for a chance to win a $100 gift certificate to Party Stuff.
Milestones is brought to you by Party Stuff, Winnipeg's balloon headquarters with 3 locations.
Weather is brought to you by Canadian Footwear, helping you find the perfect fit.
A pleasant start to your day with an expected high of -7, which will put us slightly above a normal high. -9 would be seasonal. Last year, we only got to -17 degrees, but the record back in 1999, that was almost 5 degrees. So way above where we were yesterday, slightly above seasonal, but probably pretty much holding steady throughout the day today. It was snowing earlier. There's still a few flakes, but it has tapered off considerably. And now with the sun up, seeing a little bit of blue sky above. It is looking beautiful out here this morning and feeling not too bad. -9 was where we're currently sitting, though a wind chill value of -17 is due to those winds 25 clicks out of the northwest. The pressure rising, the humidity sitting at 86%. That light bit of snow that's been falling, making things look fresh and clean after the mild days. It's been pretty messy, pretty slushy, pretty dirty looking, all sludgy and brown. And now, thanks to the fresh snow, it's looking a little bit cleaner out here this morning, but it might be a little bit slick. Just keep that in mind for your commute today. As far as temperatures rising, maybe only by a couple of degrees, and today will actually be the coolest day of the week, getting a lot warmer throughout the rest of this week as we're close to the freezing mark, not just for the rest of the week, but through the weekend, and even on the other side into next week too. And now the snow tapering off, we're even starting to see a little bit of that sunshine, which we'll enjoy throughout the afternoon.
Thanks, Terry. It's a cocktail party to celebrate women, their friendships, while working to uplift other women in the community. The event is called a Galentine's Day Mixer, and the money raised at the mixer is going to a great cause. Joining us now to tell us more about the event are organizer Carly Edmondson and Mena Gain-Paulsing from the Friends of the Canadian Museum for Human Rights. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for joining us. Now, what is it about women connecting, building relationships and friendships? Why are we so powerful that way?
It's a great question. So Galentine's Day is something that I've personally celebrated for many years. It started out just having parties at my house, so a small group of women who've, played a role in my life, and women have always been a force for good in my life, personally and professionally. And the last year I had it at my house, I had 80 people show up.
Wow.
And my house is not that big, so I was very lucky to find partners in the Canadian Museum for Human Rights to help us expand this and bring that feeling of love and support, to uplift our community together to a greater platform.
You have a lot of friends. That's amazing.
Or I have a lot of friends who have a lot of friends.
Okay, so this is the first time you're doing this event at the museum itself. So what's happening?
So we are gathering on Thursday, February 12th. Tickets are on sale till the end of the day today for anyone who hasn't got a chance to get them yet. It's just going to be a party. So while we're supporting an institution that tells important human rights stories, which can be a serious topic, this is all about fun and joy and connecting with like-minded people and celebrating the stories of women. So there's going to be DJ Mama Cutsworth, who's playing some music. There's going to be snacks and drinks. So there's local vendors there who will be sampling their products, so it's just going to be a great time.
It sounds fun. Now, when you started this project, your intentions were to have 150 tickets sold. You went well beyond that. Tell us what happened.
So we're very lucky to have a committee of 15 incredible women, along with the staff at the CMHR, who are helping us plan. And, first time event for the public, we thought if we get 150 people out, that'll be great. In their first 48 hours, we sold out. So we made the decision to move to the larger space at the museum, Buehler Hall. And as of this morning, we're at 360 tickets sold. So we are blown away by the response that we've received.
That's incredible. And of course, a portion of the sales goes to the museum itself. Tell us a little bit about where that money will go.
Yeah, this has been an incredible opportunity for us because the museum's now in its 11th year, and a lot of what we're focused upon right now is how we can expand our reach as an organization. We are a national museum. While we're based here, excuse me, in Manitoba, as a national museum, we're reaching mostly students in almost every province, and we want to do more of that. There's certainly a time for this. People are certainly feeling it when it comes to human rights, what they're seeing happening around them and in the world. And being able to provide human rights education that can encourage people to become human rights upstanders, people who stand up for human rights and champion human rights, is so important right now. And so through the work that we're able to do with the support of events like this, we'll be able to expand that reach and do more of this work.
It's very exciting. And of course, women supporting women, this is what this is all about, and helping other women around the world reach the human rights that they deserve, right?
Absolutely, and there's so many stories of women's rights or human rights that are stories that women can tell about what they did, so it really connects well, and this event has really brought together a lot of like-minded people. We've got sponsors like the Menopause Practice, who are obviously very focused on women, supporting us to make this event a reality, and we're so lucky to have such an amazing team at the museum who, you know, shares our vision for this event.
And building friendships, so there's going to be a lot of connection, women connecting with new women, making new connections. What do you want people to know about this event and how they could get their hands on tickets?
You know what, in today's world, when there's lots of headlines that feel like maybe we're not moving in the right direction, not moving forward, this is going to be a night to remember that women especially, and female identifying folks, raise up the communities around them. It's all about celebrating one another and feeling joy and optimism for the future. So it's a fun, bold, empowering day, and everyone is welcome, although we're certainly focused on women. We're happy to have anyone who wants to celebrate women there. Tickets are available at galsdaywpg.com until the end of the day today, so come out and join us.
That's great, and of course we'll have a link on our website as well. Thank you so much for sharing this with us.
Thank you.
Hello there, Adam Scully inside the TSN Sports Center newsroom with your must-see moment from Monday. And for it, we go to Boston college hockey. Boston taking on Boston College in the Beanpot. Brady Berard in on the breakaway. Absolutely robbed by Mikhail Yegorov. Flashes the glove, making a fantastic save. No NHL going on, but still some great hockey highlights. That is your must-see moment from Monday. And tonight it's the NBA on TSN. Pacers taking on the Knicks. Tip-off at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. That's all now from the Sports Center newsroom. Have a great day.
The TSN Must-See Moment is brought to you by Super Blinds and Draperies, featuring Hunter Douglas products.
It's Tuesday, February the 10th. Fatal fire. Dramatic video shows the agonizing moments just before fire crews arrived at a burning West End home on the weekend. And could a Westman Ag Fair have been a super spreader event? Health officials in Manitoba keep a careful watch on measles cases after several reported exposures in the area. And is this a bridge too far? Why the president is claiming Canada owes compensation for the new Detroit River crossing opening this year. Your Morning Winnipeg starts right now. Manitoba, it's at 8 o'clock on your Tuesday. Thank you so much for being with us. Of course, Valentine's Day is happening on Saturday.
Yeah.
And if you feel like you want to stay inside with your sweetie, we're going to show you this really beautiful spread that'll be sure to make them excited and happy. It's a beautiful charcuterie board and some of the snacks that you could serve.
I love charcuterie.
Yeah, and it's just going to be incredible. So we're going to have that. Plus, we're going to introduce you to a Team Canada skeleton athlete. He is not able to go to the Olympics because of an injury, unfortunately, but he's going to join us in studio at 8:15 to tell us about how he got in the sport.
How do you get into a sport like that? Oh my gosh.
We're going to find out more about his story and the injury, of course. But the weather, it's sort of normal for this time of year.
Yeah, I mean, today is back to pretty much what you would expect if it were middle of the afternoon. We're actually well above seasonal. When you compare this to normal lows, a seasonal low would be -19, a normal daytime high would be -9. And that is where we're sitting currently at -9, feeling like -17 with that breeze. It's out of the northwest, 25 kilometers per hour. The pressure is rising and the humidity is sitting at 86%. There's been a little bit of light snow over the course of the morning, and there's still just a few flakes falling. It is tapering off and pushing off to the east. You can expect to still see it throughout the day, parts of northwestern Ontario. For us, after the snow tapers off, the sky will even begin to clear. In fact, that's already started. When I was upstairs on the rooftop, though there was still a little bit of light snow, there's also some blue sky to enjoy. And these temperatures, yes, a little bit cooler than it's been, but still what you would expect for this time of year once we reach those high temperatures, maybe even slightly above. Where it'll actually be warmer today is along this western border, just a few degrees below the freezing mark, which are the kind of temperatures that we'll experience after today. Today will be the coolest of the week, and the snowiest of the week because we're not expecting much precipitation after today. We will enjoy a little more sunshine, but these temperatures soaring. So it is going to be a mild, it's going to be a messy week with the mercury up around the freezing mark. And you can see that's where we're going to stay throughout the rest of the week, the weekend, but even on the other side once we're looking ahead to next week. It's Snoopy and Woodstock. Fans, I mean, I'm a fan of them and a fan of Owen. Your art is so fantastic. Putting a smile on my face, and hopefully everyone that's watching too. Keep the artwork coming to Winnipeg Weather at ctv.ca.
The Weather Art of the Day is brought to you by 103.1 Virgin Radio.
We're getting a first-hand look at a desperate escape from a fatal house fire in Winnipeg's West End over the weekend. The horrific video was shared with us here at CTV, and before we show it to you, a warning: it may be hard to watch. Keep an eye on the right-hand side of your screen. You will see a person sitting on the roof of the home just a few feet from the flames. Another person can be seen stumbling in the front yard as firefighters arrive. Firefighters were called to the home on Agnes Street Saturday morning around 9:40 a.m. It took crews nearly 5 hours to get the blaze under control. 5 people were taken to hospital, but 2 died. An 18-year-old girl and a 48-year-old woman succumbed to their injuries. Winnipeg police say the fire is under investigation, and investigators are working to determine whether arson is a factor. A warning from Manitoba Health about a potential measles outbreak in western Manitoba. Organizers say 35,000 people attended Ag Days at the Keystone Centre from January 20th to the 22nd, and anyone who visited hotels, restaurants, and shops in the area may have also been exposed to measles.
It's very concerning when you hear stories like that, because we know that measles is an extremely infectious virus. It requires very low doses. It stays airborne for quite a long time after a person who's infected enters a room.
Symptoms of measles generally appear 7 to 21 days after exposure. Those symptoms can include fever, runny nose, drowsiness, irritability, and red eyes. The disease spreads through droplets in the air formed when coughing or sneezing. And Dr. Philippe Lagacé-Wien says he's concerned large-scale events like Ag Days could lead to a surge in cases.
Definitely has the potential. We just can't make that ascertainment until we start to see cases come up, and public health will hopefully follow up on those cases and find out where their likely exposures or likely areas of acquiring it were. And if we determine that there's been several cases associated with that, yeah, it could be deemed a super spreader event.
The province says Ag Days attendees who develop symptoms or know they've been exposed to measles should isolate at home and contact health authorities. All attendees should monitor for symptoms until February 13th. And on Monday afternoon, Manitoba Health reported more potential measles exposures between January 31st and February the 6th in Oak Bluff, Notre-Dame-de-Lourdes, and at the Brandon Regional Health Center. Amid the ongoing tensions between the U.S. and Canada, Donald Trump says he will not allow a new bridge between Ontario and Michigan to open until his country is, quote, fully compensated. The bridge in question is the Gordie Howe International Bridge, currently under construction, with plans to connect Windsor and Detroit. Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer's office has responded to Trump's announcement by saying the bridge will open one way or another. Here's a look now what's going on in Kenaston and Sterling Lyon. It looks like things appear to be moving quite well in this part of the city. If you see any issues out there, please text them to us.
Traffic is brought to you by the Kidney Foundation. Help by donating your car today.
Let's go now to Ainsley McPhail. We're learning all about Research Manitoba and some of the unique projects happening here. Good morning.
Rochelle, good morning. I feel like I've been invited to the coolest science fair in the province, but when I say invited, I scheduled this whole thing. Brilliant. Sarah Hodson joins us now, and she's going to tell us about some of the immaculate work that's being done behind the scenes in robotics and its innovation. Okay, what are we looking at in front of us? Because to the average person just taking a look at the blueprints, what happens behind the scenes?
Well, this is an applied research project that we did with a client who was looking for a smart shoe. So the shoe itself, or the insole that we helped develop, has sensors that can pick up temperature, force, and ammonia from a foot. It's kind of hard to explain here, but our customer was a shoemaker who was looking to collect data about the condition of mainly people with diabetes of their feet. And he originally went to U of M, and they had taken a shoe and put holes in it and put sensors in it and had a controller that was on the outside of the shoe with a big battery to power it. But that's not very practical. A person can't really wear that and wear that around. So what we did is applied research where we took we designed an insole that had flexible circuit board in it to collect the data so that the person could wear it more comfortably. We took the design from that shoe with wires all hanging out of it. We designed and machined a mold. We created the insole from the mold and placed the circuit board inside the
What a long process. Oh my gosh. We won't get to it all today. You know what can our feet tell us, I guess, is the big question. Cameraman Kenny's feet reek.
Oh, okay. It's a good thing he's not here to hear that. Thank you, Ainsley. Many people use social media accounts to connect with family and friends. Others use the platforms for work and business. So if you get locked out without warning, you may lose photos, videos, and contacts. And if that does happen, it could seem almost impossible to get back into those accounts. CTV's Pat Foran has more.
It's something I rely on so much for getting new clients.
Jennifer Gaskell of Whitby runs Pink Palm Travel, a business she has grown over the past 5 years using Instagram.
That's how I grew a lot of my client base, which, you know, is part of the reason why it really stings to have it be suspended right now.
Last summer, Gaskell was stunned when her Instagram account was suspended for having inappropriate content, something that made no sense to her.
It was flagged for the reasons that they gave me were absurd. It was like nudity, for example. I immediately was like shocked.
She contacted Meta to say there must be a mistake and to have her account reinstated without success.
There's been really nothing but silence from Meta on this.
It said that was like banned, right? Suspended.
Yadasan Sivaraj of Scarborough had an Instagram account for 10 years with over 1,000 followers. It was also suspended due to content violations. He has no idea why, and he also can't get it restored.
Honestly, I just want my Instagram account back because I feel that I shouldn't lose it for something I didn't do.
With Meta, they use automated systems to detect policy violations, and sometimes these automated systems can make a mistake.
A social media expert says having suspended social media accounts reinstated can be difficult.
All the content we're posting online, again, is rented to these social media platforms. It's not really our own. We don't have control over it the way we wish we could.
A Meta spokesperson told CTV News support for Facebook and Instagram is available online, and there are steps to take to have accounts restored. But after months of trying, Sivaraja and Gaskell remain locked out of their accounts. They had to open new ones and start all over again.
Personally, I've had a 50% drop in inquiries, so it does have a direct connection.
Pat Foran, CTV News.
All right, we're looking through the CTV Live Eye, brought to you by Bathfitter, exclusive home of the PermaFit solution. That snow that's been falling this morning is beginning to taper off. You might still notice a couple flakes here or there. Could make things a little bit slick out on the streets, sidewalks, whatnot. I've been telling you, just give yourself a little bit of extra time for your commute. Temperature-wise, we actually dipped just slightly. We have been at -9 over the course of the morning, now dropped to -10, but still seeing similar temperatures in those high minus single digits all throughout the rest of southeastern Manitoba. And then starting to move a little bit further north, we're pushing into the minus double digits or mid to high minus teens. Slightly heavier clouds along the eastern border with a better chance of some flurries, a little clearer along the western border. That'll be where things are warming up. But warming up temperature-wise doesn't necessarily mean warming up wind chill-wise, because those winds today, you will notice them. It's a 25K wind right now, making it feel like -19, or up in the far north, you've got wind chill values in Churchill of -30 this morning, so bundle up. With the extra clouds, that little bit of light and scattered snow, mainly for eastern Manitoba. Western Manitoba will see increasing amounts of sunshine, and in fact, so will we. We're starting to see some sunshine from behind those clouds, and we'll see more of that as the day goes on. The mercury won't be soaring today, though. We'll get to about -9 as kids get into the classroom, and then hold steady at about -7 through midday and into the afternoon. That is our expected high for today, dropping slightly overnight, but then big time rise as we're up around the freezing mark, which is where we'll stay throughout the rest of this week and into the coming weekend. We're taking a break, but we'll be back with Your Morning Winnipeg.
We are in the midst of the Winter Olympics right now, and the sport of skeleton is one of the competitions that many love to watch. The sport consists of an athlete on a sled diving headfirst down a steep hill, reaching speeds of about 140 kilometers an hour. It's judged on speed. A local athlete from Manitoba is part of Team Canada's skeleton team, but due to an injury, has had to sit out of this Olympics in Milano Cortina. Joining us now is Team Canada skeleton athlete Sébastien Régnier. Good morning, Sébastien. Bonjour.
Thanks for having me. Merci.
Thank you so much. Now, you're from Manitoba, so that's why you're here. You're here to sort of promote the sport itself. Yeah. How did you end up getting in the sport of skeleton?
So I used to run track and field for the University of Manitoba. I was a sprinter for 5 years, and so my sprints coach, Rob Elchuk, had coached a couple Olympic medalists in skeleton before I joined. They won bronze in Pyeongchang in 2018 and then a silver in Beijing in 2022.
Okay.
So when I was done with track, he almost kind of told me, like, this is what you're doing next. And I was like, okay. I trusted his judgment.
And the reason being is because you have so much speed, it helps with the takeoff,
yeah,
right?
Especially speed. Skeleton, just like bobsleigh, you sprint into the track with your sled, get in, and then you drive down. So obviously being fast at the start is probably the biggest kind of key performance indicator of you being good at the sport. Is if you're fast at the start, you'll hopefully eventually be good to get down the track.
What's the fastest have you gone down that hill?
137, 138 kilometers an hour.
That's wild. Okay, so describe to me what it's like. It's like a fancy and fast way of going tobogganing, right?
Yeah, it's. I think it's a lot of fun. It's very hard to describe without someone actually doing it. Especially when you get to those really, really high speeds. Whistler is the fastest track in the world, so we get to spend a lot of time training there, which is a lot of fun. But things come at you so fast that you don't really have time to look or process sometimes. So it's more just based off instincts. But it takes a lot of runs to build up that instinct. So sometimes you take some bumps and bruises along the way to learn how to go faster, but it's all kind of a good learning curve. But it is a lot of fun.
Is that what led to your injury?
No, so it wasn't actually sliding. We had a training camp before the season. Essentially, in the summers and in the fall, there is no ice, obviously, on the tracks, because it's not cold enough. But we do have a training facility in Calgary, which is essentially just for the start portion. So it's just you sprint with your sled, you get on, and that's essentially just the part you train.
Okay.
And it was kind of a fluke. I was just training one day in our last training camp, and the back of my hamstring just kind of popped. And I thought, oh, it's a strain. I've pulled my hamstrings many times before being a sprinter. And this time around, it took about 10 to 11 weeks to recover. So it was a lot worse than I thought. So obviously the first part of the season, which was qualifying for the Olympics, was a bit affected. But I tried my best. I still got away with personal bests in downtime and speed. So I did the best I could.
But you will compete the next time.
That is correct. In 2030, that's the goal.
Okay, so you brought your sled here. Yeah. Describe a little bit about how it works. So your head's over on this end, and then your knees go where?
Okay, so I'll move my helmet. Essentially, your shoulders go at the front of the sled here, and then essentially your torso fits in the saddle.
There's nothing strapping you in there.
No, there's no seatbelt. You just lay in it. You put your hands, you kind of tuck them in here.
Okay.
So you kind of hold on to the sled that way, and then your knees go at the bottom here. And skeleton is actually called skeleton because these saddles look like a rib cage.
Okay.
Not quite mine because I only have one bar, but most saddles also have second or third bars, so they look a bit more like a rib cage. But that's why it's called skeleton. Essentially, the way we steer, we use our head, shoulders, knees, and toes. Essentially, the weakest steers are from the head, and then as you go down, the stronger the steers are. So it kind of depends how much you need to steer to get the right angle and to get the right, essentially, exit out of a corner to accelerate the sled.
And you're going really fast downhill, which is wild. That's why you need a helmet, right?
Yes.
Can you show us your helmet and how it protects you?
Not sure where the camera is, but
yeah, you're good there.
So the helmet obviously is very important. We don't want, especially when you're going, 130, 140 kilometers an hour, you definitely need a helmet, because even if you're necessarily not hitting walls, one thing people don't really realize about skeleton is that you have so many G-forces that you can't really keep your head off the ice.
Oh my gosh.
So you really, when you're sliding, you see just the ice in front of you. You try to use your peripheral vision to kind of get cues as to where you are in the track or in certain corners. But for the most part, your chin scrapes along the ice quite a bit because your neck sometimes isn't strong enough to keep your head off the ice.
That's wild.
Yeah.
So it must be difficult for you watching Team Canada competing. They're competing on the 12th. It starts for them. How hard is it for you to see that from a distance?
I definitely have some FOMO, like fear of missing out. But you know what? I think being relatively new to the sport, like this is the middle of my 3rd season, so just over 2 years of sliding. I didn't necessarily expect to make the games this year, especially obviously with my injury. I kind of had some time to put that away. So at this point, I'm honestly more than anything just really excited to watch my teammates. I'm super excited. Like Joseph, this is his first Olympics. We're quite close. We've been on the same circuit for the last 3 years. Hallie Clark, she was the youngest world champion ever 2 years ago, and Jane Channel, this is her 3rd Olympics. So
we'll be watching for them. And of course, Sebastian told me before this segment that athletes always need fundraising. So if you want to help them out, all Canadian athletes could use some fundraising and some support.
Exactly.
Thank you for sharing this. Merci beaucoup, and good luck for the next Olympics.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And how about a special shout out to his mom, who has to watch her son do something as wild as that. Anyway, let's talk a little bit about how today will be playing out, because it's beautiful and pleasant. There's been a little bit of light snow, but it is tapering off and the sky beginning to clear. -10 is where the temperature currently sits right now, feeling more like -19 if you're going to factor in that wind. That wind itself is 25 clicks out of the northwest. The pressure rising, the humidity sitting at 83%. So yes, a little bit of light snow, but it's just made everything look a little bit fresh and clean. I know it's been brown and kind of dingy lately because of the mild melting conditions. Well, we're going to get back to that later on this week. Really mild and messy conditions expected. Today should stay just cold enough that it's not going to be quite as messy. And the temperature climbing a couple degrees from where we're sitting right now, topping out at about -7 and holding steady through the day. There will be areas to the west of us who will experience even warmer temperatures, and we're going to experience those warmer temperatures later on throughout this week, and then they're going to last throughout the weekend and into next week too. Out at Elk Island Provincial Park, it looks very cool. Thanks to Kevin for sharing this picture. Keep the photos coming, please, to Winnipeg Weather at ctv.ca.
Weather is brought to you by Garage Masters, your complete garage specialists.
Alphabet is selling sterling and Swiss franc denominated bonds for the first time, including an ultra rare issue of a 100-year note following a bumper $20 billion deal in the U.S. Alphabet's 100-year note is the first sale with such an extreme maturity by a technology firm since Motorola sold this type of debt in 1997, according to data compiled by Bloomberg. I could not justify taking such a long maturity bond in most companies, especially not one subject to an ever-changing landscape, said Alex Ralph, co-portfolio manager of Ned Group Investments Global Strategic Bond Fund. So we'll see what happens. Canadians in Cuba are waiting for flights home as an energy crisis worsens in the nation amid a U.S. oil blockade. Major Canadian airlines have already suspended service to Cuba, but confirmed they plan to bring travelers back home. Calgary-based WestJet says its decision to wind down winter operations will affect WestJet Sunwing Vacations, WestJet Vacations, and Vacances WestJet Quebec. No word on the financial impact on the companies. Those are your morning business headlines. For BNN Bloomberg, I'm Roger Peterson.
Wouldn't it be nice to have a super efficient home and maybe save a few dollars along the way? Karen Windat is an energy efficiency specialist at Efficiency Manitoba. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Let's talk a little bit about the EnerGuide program, because this is a way that people might be able to save a few bucks.
Yeah, for sure. So the EnerGuide evaluation is an in-home assessment that's performed by a registered energy advisor. If you're considering any home renovations, it's a great first place to start. The energy advisor will come, they'll assess your home, and they'll tell you their recommended improvements to help you save energy and improve the comfort of your home.
Very nice. Okay, so let's talk then about what this visit might look like and how we would plan or prepare for it.
Yeah, so after you schedule the appointment, your advisor will tell you exactly how to prepare, but the advisor will come to your home and they'll assess it from basement to attic. They'll assess your insulation levels, your windows and doors, they'll look at your heating and cooling equipment, and then they'll give you their unbiased recommendations of how to improve the efficiency of your home.
Okay, and that includes a whole report, right?
It does. So after the evaluation, they will send you 3 reports. And so these reports, just quickly here, this one will show you the energy, how efficient your home is compared to a typical new home. This one outlines all of your building components. And so this is a great resource to give to a contractor, specifically if you were going to install a heat pump. They can use it to size the equipment.
Yeah.
And then my personal favorite is the renovation upgrade report. So this report is your step-by-step guide to recommended upgrades, and it includes your energy savings expected from each of those upgrades.
Ooh, very nice. Okay, so very detailed reports. Let's talk about the benefits of having this done.
Yeah, so I mean, definitely the benefit is these reports that tell you what to do and how much it's going to save. Also, just the benefits of upgrading your home, I guess, in general, are that you can reduce your energy bills and make your home more comfortable.
Yeah, and we all want a more comfortable space, right? Rebates, I understand that there's some available?
Yeah, so we offer a $400 rebate towards the cost of a pre-retrofit EnerGuide evaluation. And after you complete your evaluation, check out our website because we have a lot of programs and rebates that support all of the recommendations.
Okay, and visiting the website is where you begin too, with even setting that up. Is that the idea?
Absolutely. So yeah, check out our website, efficiencymb.ca, to learn more.
Excellent. And people can call you as well if they're not web savvy?
Absolutely. So you can call us. I'm going to reference this. They can call us toll free at 1-844-944-8181.
Perfect. You've given us such valuable information. I think a lot of people would like to take that and perhaps have a more efficient and certainly a more comfortable home. Karen, thanks so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We're going to take a break now. We'll be back after this.
Oh, that looks beautiful, doesn't it? Oh, it sure does. Nice to see the sunshine after the snow's been falling all morning long. It's -10 right now, though it feels like -19. That northwest wind is 25 clicks, the pressure rising, and the humidity sitting at 83%. And obviously the sun has risen now. It is looking gorgeous and a little bit brighter. We had some heavier clouds, a little bit of light snow, and you might still notice a few flakes of flurries, but it is tapering off, pushing off to the east with that clearer patch behind it. So enjoy some of that sunshine. We'll see it throughout the day now, and pretty pleasant temperatures. It's not going to be as mild or messy, but it's not going to be as messy, so that's actually pretty good news today. Holding steady at about -17, we'll still gain a few degrees and then just kind of stall out, but that will make for a maybe more pleasant day as opposed to the messy, slushy days. In fact, that number right there is my perfect wintertime day. It is going to get a lot warmer than that throughout the rest of the week. Those winds today out of the northwest at about 50 kilometers per hour, then dropping down to -13 as those winds taper off overnight. And just a few clouds linger, setting us up for plenty of sunshine tomorrow. But tomorrow will be warmer yet, messy again. And these temperatures will continue to rise throughout the rest of the week. I say -7 is so perfect because you can still enjoy all of your wintertime activities. Not that you can't as it continues to warm up, but you're really kind of racing the clock, especially with some possible plus digits on the way throughout this week or hovering around the freezing mark well into next week as well. And we've got these winter festivals and all sorts of winter fun that we still want to enjoy. It's only February after all, and these numbers are going to take us well above seasonal.
The inquest into a fatal police shooting of a 16-year-old girl in Winnipeg is set to hear from some young people who were in a stolen vehicle with her when she died. 3 of the 4 teens who were with Aisha Hudson in April 2020 are expected to provide accounts of what happened. The inquest has heard Aisha was driving a stolen Jeep and that some people she was with robbed a liquor store. It's examining whether the use of force was appropriate and if systemic racism played a role because the robbery suspects were identified as Indigenous. The operator of Eddie Bauer's Canadian store says it's filed for bankruptcy protection in the U.S. and will soon make a similar move in Canada. Eddie Bauer LLC says the 220 stores across both countries will remain open, but it will host liquidation sales as the court processes get underway. If they can't find a buyer, it will begin a wind down of Canadian and U.S. operations. There are 31 Eddie Bauer stores in Canada. About half of those are in Ontario. Today's show host Savannah Guthrie is pleading for the public's help in her mother's disappearance.
We believe our mom is still out there. We need your help.
Savannah Guthrie posted another video on social media saying family members believe Nancy Guthrie is still out there. The purported ransom deadline of 5 p.m. yesterday has passed. The FBI says it has not identified a suspect or person of interest in Nancy Guthrie's disappearance. Nancy was reported missing in Arizona 9 days ago. Health Canada has announced a recall of some blood pressure medication. They say 2 lots of Mar-Amlodipine 5 milligram tablets are being recalled as some bottles may contain the wrong drug. It's usually used to treat high blood pressure and chest pain. Health Canada says the manufacturer inadvertently put medication to treat low blood pressure in some of the bottles. The correct tablets have 8 sides and are white to off-white in color and have the numbers 2, 1, 0, and 5 printed on them. Canada's women's hockey team remains unbeaten at the 2026 Winter Olympics after a 5-1 win over Czechia. This second win in a row came as Marie-Philippe Poulin left in the first period after a hard check and did not return to the ice. Canada is back in action against arch rival Team USA this afternoon. No word yet on whether Poulin will play today. One of Canada's most recognizable natural landmarks has become even more awe-inspiring lately, a spectacular byproduct of a brutally cold winter. CTV's John Venevali Rao explains.
The falls were already one of the world's most iconic natural wonders, a spectacular sight made all the more incredible by the deep freeze.
It's just unbelievable.
Ice encasing parts of the falls, turning them into a winter wonderland.
You gotta hate the weather, but you gotta find the beauty in it too, right?
With tourists willing to put up with downright frigid temperatures to see the falls transformed.
There's no made of the mist here today because it's packed with ice.
After more than 3 weeks straight of below zero temperatures, ice has been building up amid the longest cold snap to hit Ontario in more than a decade.
Sustained cold temperatures, we're seeing minus 10, minus 15. In fact, last night was minus 20.
The falls haven't completely frozen over. The powerful flow of the water is still too strong for that. But the ice around the falls is the most seen since 2015. The waters here have only stopped completely once before in 1848 because of an ice jam. But other severe winters have seen partial freezes, where people have even ventured out onto the ice.
To imagine all that water freezing is just how cold the temperatures have been.
Shows you how cold it is. And it's been so cold this winter, the Great Lakes are now more than half frozen over, with Lake Erie a whopping 95% ice covered, and it could freeze over for the first time in 3 decades. A massive crack formed over the weekend that could be seen from space, and winds have pushed huge sheets of ice onto the shore, creating massive mountains of ice. At the falls, there's been a surge of tourists.
Sometimes some will say to us this is their favorite time to see Niagara Falls because this is unique to see ice conditions like this.
And while it is expected to reach 1 degree here tomorrow amid a slight warm-up, so much ice is built up around here they expect it to last for many, many weeks to come. John Venevali Rao, CTV News, Niagara Falls.
Here's the look now. What's happening on the St. James Bridge? Things look like they're moving quite well in this part of the city. If you see any issues, text them to us, please. And here's a look at your gas prices. The Canadian average is $1.29. The provincial average is $1.22. It's the same in Winnipeg. And the lowest price in the city is $1.12. All this information is on GasBuddy.com. Today is Cribbage Day. So for our question of the day, we wanted to know what's your favorite card game? It's Crib for Susan. Also Crib for Bob. Marlene's favorites are Poker and Rummy. Phase 10 and Kings Run Wild are Cheryl's favorites. And Brian shared, my grandfather taught me cribbage and I've helped teach my grandchildren. I really enjoy the game and the chats we have during play. Thank you so much for your responses. Let's go now to Ainsley McPhail. We're talking about research here in this province, some of the unique projects happening as well. Good morning.
Good morning. Mariana Roxandich joins us now. She's probably got one of the coolest jobs ever, at least if you're Rochelle Legacy. Want to know why? Something on here is from a Neanderthal. And I know how much you love those, Rach. Okay, Mariana, tell us about this table, because not one skull looks like the other's skull.
Right, but they are all sort of predecessors of our own species, us modern humans, right? And so what I'm looking at, like these two are out from Africa, and this is from Near East. And this one is from the Balkans and Serbia, and I think that maybe, so one of my ideas is that maybe this one belongs to the group that preceded our own species. And at the same time, in Europe, you have Neanderthals, right? So sometimes during the human evolution, you know, Neanderthals and modern humans split. So we developed in Africa, Neanderthals developed in Europe. You also had Denisovans that mostly developed in Asia. So what happens is that then, you know, there's all sorts of movements. Neanderthals moves to Asia, Africans move into Eurasia, et cetera, et cetera. So this happens over and over in the course of human evolution. And so at some point, you know, these guys developed, this is like one of the earliest examples of modern human. This is a later example, which is about 100,000 years ago, and this one is the earliest, which is about 300,000 years ago. So you have these modern humans, and they eventually come out of Africa and spread all over the world. So this is us. We are all coming out of Africa, and you can think about this. So when you, for example, compare Australian original population with the Danish people, there is more genetic similarities between them than between some of the African populations in Africa proper. And the reason for that is that when they came out of Africa, these guys, there was a bottleneck. So only some variation came out of Africa, and then it developed and spread all over the world. So it's a fascinating story.
That's why I said you have one of the coolest jobs in the world. It is so fascinating. There's no other word for it. We're out of time, but I was going to get you to just see how my skull different.
Thank you, Ainsley.
Back to you, Rochelle.
Thank you. All right, let's go out to the rooftop now. How's it feeling out there?
Pleasant, and I was saying I think today will be like a perfect winter day, maybe a little bit more of a wind than you might like, and that's because that breeze could at times gust to about 50 kilometers per hour. At the moment, it's just a 25k wind. It's out of the northwest, but it does make a difference. -9 is where our actual, or pardon me, -10 is where our actual temperature sits, but you factor in that wind and it feels like -19. Now, for a reference point, -19 would be a normal low. -10 is where we're sitting, so we are well above seasonal. The pressure rising, the humidity sitting at 83%, and blue sky above. We've got some sunshine to enjoy, and I haven't seen a snowflake now for the last minute, so that snow seems to have tapered off, and the sky continuously clearing with really pleasant temperatures expected throughout the day today. It won't be anywhere near as messy or as slushy, and with that fresh dusting of snow, everything is looking beautiful and clean again. It might be a little bit slick in some places, though, so just keep that in mind. Today will rise a few degrees, then hold steady at about -7. The warm-up continues, though, throughout the rest of this week. So as pristine as things are looking with that fresh dusting of snow, expected to look messy and slushy all over again as tomorrow and the rest of the week, the weekend, and even into next week. These temperatures will be climbing back up well above seasonal, pushing close to the freezing mark, maybe even surpassing it. We could again see some plus digits later on throughout this week. We're taking a break right now, but we'll be back with Your Morning Winnipeg.
Weather is brought to you by Mr. Lube Plus Tires. Open late, ready when you are.
Have a news tip? When you see news happening, let CTV News Winnipeg know. Text your tips, pictures, and videos to 10400. That's 10400. Message and data rates may apply.
A valued support program by Wounded Warriors is now online to help spouses of trauma-exposed professionals across Canada. CTV's Pauline Chan takes a closer look.
Chris Linford was a 33-year member of the Canadian military, largely working in healthcare as a nurse.
I was deployed to Rwanda, Africa, just on the tail end of the genocide.
The experience led to a diagnosis of PTSD years later.
PTSD is kind of one of those injuries that makes you stare at your belly button all day long. So you don't really have a great deal of capacity to see how your behavior is impacting others. I knew there was something wrong.
And when Catherine Linford eventually sought help for herself, she didn't even realize it was connected to Chris's behavior.
I sought help just because I thought I need to figure out what's going on with me. I was sad, I was angry, I was frustrated, so I just needed to find out why.
She and 2 experienced mental health workers appear in a new online program called the Spousal Resiliency Program, a spin-off of Wounded Warriors in-person course.
It is not a program to bash our spouses. It's about taking care of us so that we are in a better place to take care, not to take care of them, but to understand them better.
Wounded Warriors CEO Scott Maxwell says having the program online vastly expands accessibility.
Removing geographical barriers to accessing what we know is needed from spouses no matter where they reside in Canada.
He says in Ontario alone, there are some 80,000 public safety personnel, not including retirees or family.
You're talking about upwards of 800,000 to 1 million trauma-exposed professional people.
The 3-hour-long program is meant to be read and absorbed over several weeks and months.
It's a game changer for the country.
And Wounded Warriors also has support programs for couples and children of trauma-exposed professionals. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
Donald Trump called the Super Bowl halftime show terrible and the worst ever. But despite the presidential backlash, Bad Bunny's performance is getting some rave reviews here in Canada. CTV's Andrew Johnson reports.
It was a Super Bowl-sized eruption in Seattle when their team won it all.
This is the best day of my life. We the best day. Amazing day. The Seahawks, Super Bowl champions.
The Gatorade spilled after a game that was anything but splashy.
The game wasn't very good.
A common complaint when defense is the star on the field, as it was for the Seahawks in shutting down the New England Patriots. But there was no lack of excitement at halftime. Puerto Rican superstar Bad Bunny, with the help of Ricky Martin, Lady Gaga, and incredibly elaborate set pieces, turned the show into a celebration of multicultural America, including an actual legal wedding ceremony and a shout out to every country in the Americas, including our own. A message not lost on Canada's Latin community, including Montreal's mayor, who busted out some moves of her own before the game.
He talked about what America is, and America is not the United States. It's all of us.
Bad Bunny, who's been critical of Donald Trump and the crackdown by immigration enforcement officers, ended with the message the only thing more powerful than hate is love. The U.S. president did not love the performance, calling it terrible, one of the worst ever, and a slap in the face. In Seattle and Vancouver, where Seahawks fans referred to as 12 North partied into the night at local bars, the most important message was victory. There are, in fact, thousands of Canadian Seahawks season ticket holders, the majority here in BC, and we can expect many will be crossing the border to celebrate in Seattle on Wednesday at the Super Bowl parade, where officials expect up to 1 million fans. Andrew Johnson, CTV News, Vancouver.
Whether you saw them during the game or later online, companies shelled out big cash to get their ads featured during the Super Bowl. One spot even topped 8 figures for the first time. But did any of them manage to grab the spotlight from action on the field? ABC's Danny New has that story.
With around 130 million people watching,
Jen Spark, give me the day off.
Super Bowl advertisers competed Sunday night for an evening with a rare opportunity.
This is one event where you can get them to watch the commercials.
There's no skip ad button. For Insight, I spoke with marketing consultant Alan Adamson, who entered this field about 3 decades ago, long before 30-second commercials were creeping over the reported $10 million mark we saw this year.
I'm on row.
Overall, Alan says there were 2 main industries dominating the breaks this year: AI and, as you just saw tennis great Serena Williams vouching for, weight loss medications. And when it comes to the latter,
the benefit of those is the product really does work and makes people's lives different. So you may not need to do much explaining.
Isn't that your girlfriend?
Of course, there were many commercials with more than one celebrity. This Duncan Goodwill Hunting spoof featured Ben Affleck, Tom Brady, and I think 1 million actors from 90s sitcoms.
Yes, Wi-Fi finds a way.
And how about some more 90s? Xfinity united the cast of Jurassic Park simply by fixing the island's internet.
Lots of these ads are entertaining, But there's an old ad phrase that was many years ago, it ain't creative unless it sells.
Please.
Meanwhile, the New York Times ranked this Squarespace ad as the #1 commercial of the night, as actress Emma Stone continually smashes laptops when she sees that EmmaStone.com is already taken.
If you need to attract people that really want to get the Danny New brand and they're concerned that it's going to be taken by Danny Old, you better pay attention to Emma.
I'll be right back.
Right, exactly.
Well, we're going to at least see a lot of sunshine today.
You're right about that, actually. Rochelle, it's beautiful, and I know you were talking about having been out for a walk yesterday and how mild and pleasant it was. Well, we're going to actually get slightly cooler temperatures, and perhaps you noticed on your walk how messy and slushy it was.
Yeah.
Because that was one of the things that I noticed, that actually you step...
slippery.
It almost, this snow takes on the texture almost of sand, I find, where like you step into what seems like fairly thick snow, but you just kind of slip and fall right into it.
Yeah.
That likely won't be the case today. So perhaps things will be a little bit better on your walk as far as traction goes, although I say that, and there's also been this light dusting of snow, so it might be a little bit slippy in some places, but that snow integrity should be a little more firm. Here we're looking at a gorgeous shot of the sun shining over the city. It is -10. It feels like -19 with northwest winds 25 kilometers per hour. That pressure rising, the humidity sitting at 83%. And yes, sunshine now. It was snowing earlier on, and that's that fresh dusting of snow that I'm talking about that perhaps makes things look all nice, fresh and clean, but perhaps could be a little bit slippy as well. Well, that's tapered off still off to the east of us. You'll notice that. And now we'll just enjoy increasing amounts of sunshine. Temperature won't be soaring today, holding steady at about -7 once we reach that number. But after that, there will be a big warm up coming throughout this week as we're up around the freezing mark throughout the weekend and next week too. We'll see you right after this break.
Rooftop arrangements provided by Lacoste Garden Center. Salon services provided by Essentique Spa Salon.
Before we say goodbye, we're going to send you off with some fun video. We kick things off with a funny fake nail challenge.
This is like a monkey. Okay, well, I can't turn the engine on.
No, stop. This man wanted to prove his wife wrong when she told him he wouldn't last a day wearing fake nails, and looks like she was right. He had problems tying his shoes, starting the car, drinking coffee, and getting things from his backpack. His lovely hands, though. Now to a woman who was told to dress in her most expensive outfit for a night out. About right. Date night looks different when your wife loves the great outdoors. Allison didn't think twice when told to wear her most costly clothes. She grabbed every layer of her skincare. And lastly, a long distance traveler that scores big.
Love me, love me, love me, love me.
Look at him go. This father runs the whole length of the court to get the basket. He shoots and he scores, and nothing but net. Lucky
it's on camera, kid. You've got that for life.
Have a good day. We'll see you tomorrow.